Welcome back, everybody, to Gamers8 featuring our day 3, where we have the semifinals. We already seen BDS make their way into the finals. Falcons went home, and now we have w7m up against M80. I'm Jeannie, your host, joined on the desk by Jesse and Demo. Demo, your first desk, actually, so welcome.
Not ever in existence.
Ever.
Just this event.
Just this event.
Because Jesse asked me, and he said,
"Aw,
look, I miss you."
I begged them to give me anybody else. I said, please,
no,
fresh.
you can't lie about
and
it.
is anyone available?
I saw you.
He came to my door and he said, "I'm all out of love. I'm lost out without you." You know, that's what it's like.
I was this close to getting Ian, but...
Oh, I mean, I would actually love to see Ian on the desk, especially with M80 coming up. Yeah, he told me that there's a little bit of bias from Ian coming out about M80. But w7m are the first team that I want to dissect, because this is the team that won the Copenhagen Major, dropping one map, and then they come here and they lose to a team that wasn't even there.
Yeah, w7m, I mean, obviously in a really strong position. They are, as many people would like to say, the best team in the world right now. Losing to BDS, maybe that opinion would change for some people, but I still think they're going to be the tournament favorites coming through this event. You know, they've looked really good so far this season, 23-6 overall map record this year since the 6th Invitational. I mean, they are looking so incredibly strong, and they just have this way about them. The way they attack, it makes it very, very difficult for the defenders to stay alive for long.
It's their meta.
Yeah.
They made this. I feel as though FaZe they kind of laid the pipelines, but they're the ones who brought it to life. You look at how Siege has played now, where it's so fast and aggressive, and that's what you need to do. This team does all of that.
Right. I mean, it seems like it looks like when it comes to w7m, we can expect a lot of great things from them coming out today against M80, but it's also a matter of how are they feeling after that loss against BDS. Did it shake them a little? Did it give them the wake-up call that they needed? Are they still going to go through this as strong as ever? Let's have a check-in.
This year with w7m, with a very strong team, just won Major Copenhagen, and we have the hype of it, the momentum. We changed a lot of things for this event, so I'm very happy to be in the semifinal.
I'd say at least. Line's a very important pickup here against Nather still. Into it with this cross! JV92 with the transfer onto Yaga! Shuts down!
I think our team has what w7m lacks is, you know, just kind of that raw firepower of being in the shits. When things get scrappy, we can handle it.
Looks for a second and he's good for it. Third, not so much, but Iconic sends it deep to sight. 10 seconds, they need to get this case down. And well, that's exactly what they'll do. Diaz halfway through the procedure, but Iconic split between two. Finds one more, looks for a 4K to wrap up the round. Benja, the answer, alone, and gets one more to Diaz. Batman, what do you have? It's the answer, a 4K, and M80 find the round.
To beat w7m, I think it's going to take a good game from everyone, and we're going to have to be on our toes because they're an exceptional team, and we're just going to have to be ready to play. It's going to be a fun match.
They had a full day of preparation today. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think we know how to win against them. Of course, I'm not telling here, but I think we got this.
So many pros have been using to its
Look at this.
maximum efficiency. KZ, he's gonna pop in. It's gonna be a trade, but no nade. Instead, he'll take down Brede. w7m burst onto sight, and they're already eliminating BDS.
I don't know what map we're playing because I just came out of the game. I didn't have time to study them, but I think we're good.
Like I sent a message to w7m is, I know you guys like to prepare a lot, but it's going to be one in the mid-round tomorrow, so I'm excited just to get after it and play, so I'm looking forward to it.
I heard someone from your team said you have better gun skill than us. I don't know in which world you're living because we are way better than you. So we'll see today, man, who is gonna win.
All right, I don't know in what world you're living. We're way better than you. A little bit of that trash talk coming through. I like to see it. w7m up against M80. We've already discussed this in terms of w7m. They have that championship title to defend. But M80, they're yet to secure something on the international stage. And both of them pretty good at gunfighting.
Certainly. I mean, Demo, where do you lie? We got Spoit on one side, you got Herds and KZ on the other. I think w7m probably across the board. I think Spoit, you got some big gunners. Spoit, Kino, Gomez coming in there, but...
Look, you know this is 100% genuine whenever I say this, because everyone knows I'm a massive fan of Spoit.
Yeah,
okay?
we all know.
Well, my boys.
Yeah.
But this w7m team is probably the second best team I've ever seen play Siege.
Who's the first?
Yeah.
Well, that GT team in 2018 and 2019.
Yeah.
There's nothing will ever come close to that, but this w7m team, they're making a fine dash for it. I just think the way they play Siege, it's generational. You look at that G2 team, what they done was define how you play the meta, where you do things by the book. This is what you do, this is what you do. Go, 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 plant. That's what every team was then trying to copy. Now every single team's trying to copy you. That shows you're the best, does it not?
Yeah.
I would assume so. I mean, up until now, they did show indeed that they were the best, but BDS yesterday, they have adapted really well to the meta, as you might said that they wrote themselves. So it brings the question, what was lacking yesterday, and can they make up for it today? Because you snooze, you're out.
Yeah, I mean, I think yesterday, looking back at W7M versus BDS, you saw a couple of rounds where W7M, especially in Oregon, just weren't really able to get their footing on the defensive side. You know, losing back-to-back basement defenses in Oregon, you just can't really be doing that. BDS did two things really well, okay? Not only did they meet W7M on their level of gun skill, not only were they right there, able to win any fight that they go into with an equal chance, but they also fully counter-stratted W7M on what they like to do. They knew what style of play they were going to go for. If they started off with a heavy anchor strat on the basement, then went to a roam, BDS were always ready for it. And I think you've got to be able to counter W7M on both of those fronts. For M80, obviously they think they can counter them on the gun skill front. They think they can counter them on the, you know, overall strategy front. But very few teams in this meta can do both, and M80 is a tall task for them to do such a thing against W7M.
You say they think that they can outgun them. Why think? Why are you not a believer in that statement yourself?
Well, I mean, because W7M, right? I mean, you need superstar players, and M80 have them. You know, Spoit is incredibly good at what he does.
Look who they picked up and you say, oh, they're superstars players, hello!
Spoit, I mean, they've got him, right? Spoit's a superstar player for sure. I think Kino in the right moment will absolutely pop off and have an amazing time. And I think as a unit, they work well, right? I think the drone going in front of Spoit from Kino, and then, you know, having that intel, working way a pick, has been very good for them. But I just think when you go a little bit deeper into the team, I think you've got a little bit more strength on guys like Philippox, who've done so good for the team over there. I think even Nade, right, coming through on the side as the hard support for W7M has impacted so much, whereas when you look at the quieter players, Diaz is a great player, you know, Gomez is fantastic, but I don't think they're the same level of gun skill.
I don't know, I think I have to disagree.
Yeah?
Just because of what I've seen yesterday. Just because of what I've seen from M80. M80, well, the day before I didn't play yesterday, whenever they went up against W7M at Invitational, they got played out of the park. You know, it was quite easy for W7M. They're both maps. It was very easy for them to win. And I think M80, the pennies dropped for how they need to play Siege. Obviously, a disappointing major from them in Copenhagen. Obviously, they're getting used to things. I always say give a team 3 to 6 months to see if they're if the roster changes have worked. They bring in big old Dave. They bring in Spoit, of course, and they're now starting to figure out that the biggest strength that M80 have is Spoit. That's the biggest strength. You look at Koi, you look at that Rogue/Koi team that won Spoit's first championship, and look at that team in Berlin. Their whole get-up was play around Spoit. He is the centerpiece. That's what happens. Look what's happened now to that team with Spoit being gone. It's a night and day difference. M80 realized the potential that they have. I've seen plenty of times whenever they were playing where they would play around Spoit. Spoit would say, guys, I'm going to do this, and they all went and done it. I think Iconic has now switched into a more flex role position as well, which suits them really, really down to a T. They're still allowing other players to do what they need, but the centerpiece is Spoit. If you follow that project, it will work because he is that good.
But would that not also be considered a downfall when we're looking at a team like M80? Because we're talking about BDS, they're reliant on Liquify and Shaiko. So having one player to be relying on, is that not something that W7M can completely take advantage of?
It's only a downfall if the player isn't playing well. That's what it is, because if you're relying on one player, if he's having a bad day, then yes, you will lose. But if he's on top of his game, and Spoit we know will go in, he'll win every gunfight. That's where they'll win.
Yeah, and I do think, like, I'm obviously hyping up W7M a lot. M80 are an amazing team as well, right? And I do like the structure because they've got those players that can support Spoit. I think the drone work that we've seen come through from guys like Kino, and I think really the way Iconic has kind of shifted roles on this team to be more of that secondary player, that support flex guy that can back up Spoit has been huge for him. His survival rating so far at this event has been crazy.
Yeah, I haven't seen him die a lot,
Dude, he's living in 40% of rounds throughout this tournament. And I get it, they haven't lost a series yet, but you look at the previous events that Iconic has played at, let's just read these numbers. Back in Charlotte, 30%. Berlin, 21%. Montreal, 23%. Copenhagen, 26%. That's like half the survival rating that he was getting at this event.
And what's the difference? He's not really the main star. Whereas at Astralis roster, he was the guy. He was the one who had to do everything. Don't have to do it now. You don't have to.
Well, you guys are finally agreeing onto something.
We always agree.
Both these
we get there eventually.
Yeah, both these teams are good. That's not
it's a brilliant matchup. Brilliant matchup. Obviously, W7M, they speak for themselves, and it's going to be M80's toughest test by far.
Yeah, and we also had the chance to sit down and speak with Iconic. Well, not us, Ian, because he's over on the stage. So let's have a check-in about how M80 is feeling specifically about this matchup against W7M.
All right, I'm down on the main stage with this man, Batman himself, Iconic, as his team M80 are behind me, getting set for this second best-of-3 semi-final to book that final spot in the grand final tomorrow against BDS. Iconic, you had the luxury of a day off yesterday because you started the tournament so strong. What were you guys up to?
You know, we just took the day off to kind of recuperate. The day before was a long day for us, so, you know, we just kind of took that time to rest, chill out, watch the games, and kind of game plan and relax and just kind of soak in what we were planning to do this next day.
Do you think it gives you a bit of an advantage being able to take your foot off the gas a little bit there? Because, you know, the teams around you here, a lot of them have been exhausted getting to this point, but because you performed so well on day one, you got that luxury.
I think it has its advantages and disadvantages, you know. Staying warm with keep playing is also good, but getting that time to rest and kind of review your opponents is also good. So I feel like it doesn't really matter, to be honest, to me. I'm good for both.
I know that your team, you know, you and the rest of your roster have got so much self-belief, and rightfully so. There are some astronomical expectations from fans who really want you to succeed, of course. And w7m are well regarded as one of the best teams to ever play the game. Do you think they're a big threat to you here in this semi?
I mean, of course, you know, can't disrespect our opponents. You know, they're absolutely a world-class team, so, you know, we have to handle them with, I mean, what they are, and we're going to take them 100% seriously and see if we can play our hardest, you know.
Let's say you get through these guys, and then you're on to grand final, best of 5 situation tomorrow. Obviously, it culminates potentially with you guys lifting that trophy and getting the lion's share of that big amount of cash. What do you make of BDS as well? Because they're looking on fire.
I mean, I haven't really take a look at BDS, you know. They're a great team. But right now, I'm focused on w7m. So when I have to look at BDS, I look at BDS.
Absolutely. Best of luck, Iconic. I know you're going to have a good time out there for sure. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Ian. That's a good insight in terms of how M80 are looking at the fact that they had that one day off. I think that was going to be a discussion point we were going to have here because w7m, they have played and they're playing now, whereas M80, that day one performance has really allowed them to relax a little bit and take a day off. So it puts them in two camps. You can either be in the camp of, okay, you've had time to relax and look at your opponents, which is great, or as Iconic said it, you're sitting down and you've cooled down a little. You're not really in the headspace again. So could that be a disadvantage or an advantage? Which camp are you leaning more?
I would say advantage. I think you've shown less. You get to have a good insight on how w7m have been playing this event. w7m's been beaten. That means that there's obviously weaknesses there that they can do what BDS did in a sense. Obviously, it's not, you know, we can sit here and talk about the preparation staff, which M80 have a great structure. You know, Bodega and Pedro, I have, you know, good respect for them. They're really, really intense in terms of the strats that they do, but Siege hasn't played on the strat book. No. It's played in the server, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, you mentioned you're showing less, especially when it comes to those maps, right, that we're looking at. M80 didn't have to play as many maps as w7m, so when we're looking at the map veto specifically, going to be Villa, the first one for w7m.
Villa, okay. So this is a fun pick. It's really fun from w7m actually, because M80 have been loving Villa so far this event. They picked it in both of the group stage games against G2 and against NIP. And in that last game against NIP, you know, they lost the map overall. I think they showed some weaknesses.
Lost to a TK in the end of it.
They did. It was a very close game, but you know, it had to get to that close point. They lost 6 rounds in regulation. I think a big thing that NIP did well in that game was denying information to M80. They used a lot of these observation blockers. They used a lot of Solus as well to try to deny that intel. And what it did was it was very difficult for Spoit to get those entries because Kino's drones were all of a sudden not super effective. This will be a fun map to see if M80 have adapted to that, if they can counter that lack of info, because w7m have 100% read into that and are going to be thinking to use that. Maybe we'll see a Solus ban, maybe we'll see some obs blockers be dealt with in some way, shape, or form. But that's a very exciting map pick from w7m starts off.
You say exciting Villa, and then we've got Theme Park, which it's one of those maps, isn't it, where you have to go back to basics almost, where it's a lot more about hard breachers and making sure you do your drone work well. That's a map which is very simple to play, but if you don't do the basics right, you will struggle. I think M80, I think for both teams, I think they'll be happy to play Theme Park because both of them do the basics really well. But I would say that the stylistic of w7m, where they want to try and go for fast pushes and exploits, there ain't too many of those in Theme Park.
Yeah, I think both these teams are very happy with all 3 maps. You know, I mean, we've got some curveballs for sure. Villa, not a ton of plays from w7m, but they picked it that you've got to think that they've got a plan for it. So we're going to get a very comfortable game of Siege, which should mean that both teams are playing at a very high level.
And Chalet's going to be chaos if we get to there as well, because both teams love that map.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be down to whether or not that will be the case. We have defending international champs w7m up against M80, who are hungry for their first international title.
everybody to Gamers8 featuring Rainbow Six here in the Esports Arena in the Boulevard in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. My name's Ian Chambers, this is Fancy, and we are agonizingly close to finding out who our two grand finalists will be.
جاهزين ان نعرف مين بيكون البطل الثاني في الجراند فاينل في موسم الجيمرز فيتشرينج رينبو 6 سيج. اعزائي المشاهدين المباراه هذه بتكون جدا مهمه لكل الفريقين، تعرفون منهم راح نقدمهم بعد شوي على المسرح، لكن قبل ما نقدمهم على المسرح لازم نعلمكم اشياء كثيره عن الفريقين هذول، سواء كان w7m قدرته انه يكون هو الفريق الافضل في العالم حاليا بقول كثير من الناس، او حتى فريق M80 اللي ادى اداء مو طبيعي في كل البطوله ووصل الان الى النهائي بطريقه جدا رهيبه.
Now we've of course already had our first semi-final, and despite Falcons having a tremendous run and having home advantage and having a very vocal crowd here in the arena, it wasn't enough to stop BDS from making it into our grand final for the second year running.
فريق BDS أكثر شيء يميزهم إنه كل مرة يصيرون موجودين عندنا هنا في السعودية في الرياض دائما أدائهم يكون مختلف تماما عن أي بطولة ثانية، خصوصا إنه الفترة الأخيرة أدائهم ما كان في المستوى، لكن يوم جو في السيمي فاينلز قبل شوي شاهدنا المباراة هذه انتهى فيهم المطاف يفوزون على فريق فالكونز بناتج جدا 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 كبير، وبصراحة ما ندري ايش اللي ممكن يسوونه، هل فعلا يقدرون يكونون الباك تو باك تشامبيونز معنا في موسم الجيمرز ولا بنشوف فريق جديد هو اللي بيقدر يرفع الكاس؟
Who will join BDS in that final? It's time to bring out our next two teams, starting with a team that is back on the stage with a bang. The fuse is lit. It's M80! Well rested after a day off, and it was a very well-earned one. I touched base with Iconic just before he went up on stage here, and this team is very relaxed coming into it, despite the astronomical expectations surrounding this team and the hype around them. Because of this young and promising roster, they're extraordinarily confident as they make their way into position here.
هذا الفريق البرازيلي أعزائي المشاهدين يعتبر من أجدد الفرق في عالم رينبو، وأخذ عالم رينبو بالكامل باي ستورم. أدائهم مو طبيعي من يوم ما بدأ الروستر هذا إلى اللحظة هذه، انتصارات لا نهائية في جميع الميادين في جميع البطولات في أنحاء العالم. هذا الجيل الجديد من عهد رينبو 6 سيج، وهذا هو الفريق اللي لازم انك تركز عليه.
Their opponents are very used to high pressure situations like this.
فريقهم القادم أعزائي المشاهدين من الفرق اللي متعود على الضغط الكبير، متعود على الانترناشونال ستيجز، فخلونا أول شيء نرحب فيهم نعرف فيهم شوي. الفريق الأفضل في العالم w7m، مصنف من الكثير إنه هذا الفريق هو الأنديفيتد في جميع البطولات، هذا الفريق اللي قدر إنه يوصل عندنا إلى النهائيات، هو الفريق الوحيد اللي قدر ياخذ ماب من فريق BDS أبطال موسم الجيمرز في السنة الماضية، متعودين على المسارح العالمية، متعودين إنهم يكونوا متواجدين تحت كل هالضغط الكبير، خصوصاً إنهم متجهزين كامل الجاهزية قدام فريق M80.
This team has set a precedent for the way they play this game. They were rocked by a loss to our now grand finalist BDS earlier on in the tournament, but they bounced back with a convincing lower bracket win against Oxygen, and now they are here, just one step away from yet another grand final and a chance to earn some Siege silverware.
جاء الوقت أعزائي المشاهدين نفتح المباراة هذه، لازم تحط ببالك نقطة إنه فريق M80 متعودين على الضغط هذا، فريق w7m هم نفس الشيء أيضا، لكن اللي يفرق بينهم الستايل حقهم، الاستراتيجيات حقتهم بتكون مختلفة في هذه المباراة، زي ما هم كلهم وعدونا إنه بيكونون جاهزين البعض. فمين بيقدر يقدم المباراة الأفضل؟ مين بيقدر بيكون هو الفاينلست الثاني معنا في البطولة؟ ما ندري.
You should never make promises in Siege, but I'm about to. This one is going to be a banger. M80, go and take your seats. Likewise for you, W7M. We will find out very shortly which of these two teams will join BDS. Let's get into it with our casters fancy.
فريق بي دي اس جاهزين ينتظرونهم في المباراة النهائية على كأس موسم الجيمرز، لكن قبل كذا نبي نعرف مين خصمهم، M80 ولا w7m. على طول نوديكم مع المعلقين.
Thank you very much, guys. And ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the second semi-final, our first one, giving BDS a swift berth into the grand finals. But now it's time to see who their challenger will be, M80 or the major champions at W7M. I'm with Stokes as usual. We're going to be starting things off here in just a moment on Villa. Stokes, get your opening thoughts on this matchup before we hop into it.
What's going on, my friend? We're in for a banger, John. I'm expecting 3 maps here, and anything less, I'm honestly disappointed. M80 and W7M, this is a series that you and I have been looking forward to for the entirety of Gamers8. I knew we were going to get here at some point. Now we just gotta let the magic happen. I honestly cannot tell you which way this can go, really. I think in my heart of hearts, if I'm really getting down to the nitty-gritty details of, my opinion on Siege, I'm feeling slightly towards W7M, but really it's anybody's ball game. You don't know what to expect out of M80 because this is a roster that's still recreating themselves, still working on themselves. They still have all of these new toys fresh out the toy box, and they're trying to get things done here. Now they are up against some very stiff competition. That doesn't mean that they can't take it to them. I'm excited to get into things, especially on Villa. It has a lot to offer, especially for strategical depth. So we're going to see a lot of different plays coming out from both of these respective squads.
I had a chance to interview Philippe Fox yesterday after they finished up their game, and I asked him a question, of course, about today's game going up against M80 and how he felt that his team was going to do it. And not gonna lie, he said that they were a little bit intimidated, specifically because of the coaching presence on M80. He had played under that coach previously, and he knows what he can do. So he knows that's gonna bring a very powerful strat up to the table, along with just great direction for the individual players as well. So still a lot of potential here for M80 to potentially take this one. Definitely agree with Stokes, the fact that we're more than likely gonna end up on all 3 maps for this one. We'll be starting things off on Villa as well. I mean, things are gonna get fun, I think, right from the start. Lots of open roam presence, and as we saw in the earlier games, these are 2 teams that love to excel into that type of playstyle when they're allowed to do so. So that's exactly what I think we're gonna see a heck of a lot of here in these first few rounds. Now, to be fair to that, W7M has kind of cooled off their aggression a little bit on their earlier games yesterday after it kind of faltered for them in their initial game versus BDS. But now they've got that confidence brimming again, and of course, they've got a few results versus M80 in the past. Maybe they feel that they can bring it out once more, as they're more than likely going to be matching that playstyle once we get into these games.
Very true. This is going to be punch for punch. That's what we're going to be seeing in between these 2 teams. At least that's what we expect, It is Siege, as Ian said. You never want to make any promises about things, but these teams are extremely talented. They respect each other a lot, and this game means a lot to them. Get on to those finals. Earn yourself a pretty penny, John.
All right, folks, well, here we go. We're loading into Villa now, so let's get started with map number 1. We may need 3 to settle it, but only 1 team can move on. It's the Battle of the Americas. Let's get into it and see who will move forward to face off against BDS in the grand finals tomorrow. W7M has the first and final ban. M80 has the 2 center bans as our blue team, so we get the first one coming up now for the attacking side on W7M, and it's going to be Flores.
Very strong ban here. Especially for a map like Villa, we know how the defense likes to implement that utility, try and build up a lot of different positioning around the map. Some closer to the site, some not exactly so. We'll just have to see exactly what they want to attempt to do in those different situations. But Flores is definitely that operator that can work around those kind of obstacles very easily. Dokkaebi also one and the same, but that more through the info game, as well as just the huge trove of other utility and, a fantastic weapon as well that she brings to the table. So that'll be gone. And M80 actually going to ban Mute. I do believe that's going to be our first Mute ban at this tournament, actually. And one that is indeed pretty strong. We've been seeing this paired with a lot of different things. Mute, even though he has been nerfed a tad bit, he's a little bit slower than he used to be. Still a fantastic operator. So not going to be using him this time around, and that one a little bit expected, especially for a map like Villa. Valkyrie's going to go to the wayside, as she's just way too dang potent with those black eye cams.
Yeah, Valkyrie's been kind of the most obvious ban out here so far at the tournament, and has been the case for quite some time, so no surprises there. Let's get ourselves into the opening round now for W7M. we are going to be going, it looks like, over to AVG, so no surprises there in the initial site choice. And you can see the same thing with the initial operator select here as well to give themselves a little bit of extra freedom by bringing the orcs into this lineup. Other than that, it's all about the mitigation and stopping the attackers from crossing that line of scrimmage to get themselves into the actual site here. And they're going to have plenty of support to do that between the Thorn, Fenrir, as well as the Smoke, the Warden as well, to fend off some of the more direct attacks they may try to go for through smoke or flash plays.
Yes, indeed. And for those of you that can read, we're going to man a tech break here for just a split second. We just want to make sure that everything is going right on both of these squads' computers before we hop into this, but we can talk about at least what this initial round is going to be looking like. John will give you guys the nitty-gritty details here. It's going to be Aviator games for the defensive site, and as you said, they are going to have the Fenrir in here, but it's kind of a little trap-oriented with that, right? You got the Fenrir there to kind of block off some of the vision on some of the longer angles or some potential swings coming into the site. You got Thorn to murk the waters up just a little bit more, making it to where if they do go for that entry too quick, they have to worry about the Razor Bloom as well, and then everything else making quite a bit of sense. I think the biggest oddity that they're going to have out of all of this is going to be Oryx, but given the fact that it's Villa, even he makes quite a bit of sense. Although he did lose his 1.5 recently, still a fantastic roaming operator, as he is the only one in the game that is able to abuse those hatches, minus Amaru on the offense.
We can talk a little bit about the attacker lineup. Obviously, this will get repicked by the time we get ourselves through prep phase, so don't count on this one too heavily just yet, but we are currently showing a Blitz, Ying, and Amaru for the attacking lineup.
I think it's locked because we're 3 seconds on the clock, so...
Well, yeah, I'm just saying they could still attack a repick once we get...
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah,
Actually, yeah, you're right.
So they might still change it up a little bit here, but that, to me, indicates we could see potentially a very fast play come out of this one, or at least a very pre-decided play from M80 just to start them off here if they want to try to bully their way into Study or another part of this map very quickly, and then maybe use the Amaru to take back control over towards the trophy side of things. But all of that will be determined in a moment. Like I said, I think we're just having a check on someone's piece. Oh, it looks like we have a headset issue. I just got clarification for production there. So give us just a second, and as soon as that is solved, we'll get the game started.
I'm interested to see what M80's overall game plan with this is going to be if they do stick with this. I think that this is really site-oriented as to if they're going to end up using this or not. Because, you know, AVG doesn't exactly have the most hatches around it. More than likely, the most beautiful one is either going to be inside of Study or the 90 hallway for Amaru. I really feel as though, like, the Blitz Ying Lion combo going on here is more of, like, that detracting factor, right? The thing that's going to be keeping w7m more at bay and focused on what's going on that front, especially with Buck trying to influence things. We could see Buck, you know, trying to get things going on the underside, kind of break up the flooring, make it to where there's not nearly as many safe areas for them to play. And if they get dislodged at the proper time with a good M80 clear, that could be the kills coming through that they're so desperately looking for. But, you know, the key thing is here is just remember that Warden is a very, very important operator in today's meta, and one that we will be seeing constantly throughout this series, including this round. The JV92 does have Warden locked in, so there's a lot of back and forth to be had here, even inside of round 1.
Yeah, as long as the Ying stays in play in the current meta here, you could pretty much count the Warden being there to counteract. We've seen more smoke play be a part of this meta as well, so that once again just boosts him forward also, on top of the just a generally pretty good and versatile kit for him to use away from that as well. So as long as he can stay alive through that kind of mid-round portion where some teams like to use him a bit more aggressively, if he's in the actual anchor position for the late round fight to use the smart glasses to either see through that smoke or of course fend off the flash grenades that are going to be thrown his way, then he could have a massive impact in that early fight, just kind of fending off the initial entry attempts. Looks like we're live now, folks. Let's get into it. We have solved that headset problem. Round 1 has begun, so let's see who takes the cake in the initial lead here on the AVG defense. Now you can see those operator lines, like I said, is looking about 27 seconds or so to potentially change it up, so things could look a little different here, but at the moment we're trending towards a pretty aggressive attacker-sided lineup.
Gonna be interested to see if Kino keeps the Amaru here. There is some potential with it, like we were talking about, there's some hatch play, but you can see that w7m, they are going to go for AVG, but it's going to be an extension over towards Master. This is something that is pretty routine. Usually end up just reinforcing the triple wall. They're going to have a rotation on their far end, which is perfectly fine. There's some nice angles you can play over towards the actual Master Closet space that are extremely helpful. So, I mean, it's really going to be up to M80 to try and clear this labyrinth that w7m has designed on the top floor.
So it all stays in play, and we have the Supernova play coming out from that operator as well. So, to me, this indicates, again, very quick wind-up. And it looks like it's going to be the case, indeed, as you can already see her lining up towards that window hop.
Bust window, man. Makes a lot of sense, because like we were talking about, the hatch play, like, there's not really a spot where you'd want to go for something like that, but this makes a lot more sense because Kino's got that shotgun. He's going to immediately be able to like close the distance here. It's really going to be onto JV92, which from yesterday really hit the shot, so I'm a little worried.
JV92 backing up right now, is not going to be in the hallway when the hop comes forward. He goes for it here. Is there an opportunity for him? No, JV92 strikes true, but now Kino takes him down from the backside on the entry. Iconic as well with the double on the blitz to entry into the site itself. They've got the player advantage, but only up by 1 right now. Diaz gets swung by KZ as he rotates back over towards 90 and retakes that control for his team. Iconic on site and apparently fraggable here too, as he's already got 2 for himself, and he may need to take down KZ. However, KZ, oh no! The flip from Iconic, and Herds will take out Kino in the process. Iconic and KZ both still alive in that smoke, but Herds comes in to shut it down as W7M stem the tide against a very aggressive execute from M80.
Such a strong showing from M80 there, but they didn't have the potential to plant. Blitz stuck in behind the bar, but Iconic not feeling it initially. And yeah, if they start the plant a little bit earlier there when the cross is being held and all that kind of stuff, I really think they're able to get that down. It's a completely different situation. But
that's the problem with that type of execute, though, is it's a huge gamble at the end of the day, right? You're coin flipping your entries, and if too many of them go the wrong way, which we saw it basically be 50-50 there at the start, it's a little bit too chaotic. And as you saw, Iconic and the only other member that was still alive from M80, by the time he got the case down on the ground, they were so separated from each other. So it just wasn't the greatest support setup, unfortunately.
Now, we will say this. Great on them for being able to work that situation and trade it out for map control. That was really, really smart. What I didn't like is the fact that they simply didn't put the case on the ground. It was on Gomez, that's what happened. So Iconic had to go back and get it. I'm just curious as to why they would think Gomez would be the one planning in this situation. I don't know where he's exactly supposed to work in on this play. We'll see if they go for it again. I'll try and keep more track of what exactly he's going about. But just from that initial volley of what they were going for, it really seemed like Iconic was going to be the one trying to force his way in and get a plant down and behind the bar. That's why it was just a little misconstrued to me.
We'll have to wait and see here. KZ doing a great job there, rotating back through Trophy and making sure that he fends off all that backside pressure as well. It's great stuff from him to be able to hold that away. Make sure that W7M still stay in good shape there. Pretty much the whole team get involved in that one. Herds ends up with a 2K, but everybody else picking up 1 except for Felipox there. So great team effort. And of course, they just move right along over into Trophy for their round 2 hold here. Iconic potentially getting swung there from the connector window, but does survive, and I believe KZ was the one that tried to challenge it. Both team players maintain full HP after it is said and done. Now we see M80 trying to set up for the initial clear. Herds tries to get aggressive as well here. They'll pay the price for it as Kino takes him down outright. A lot of damage going his way, but he gets the kill, and that's what's important right now.
You can see M80 were definitely hitting the books yesterday, what W7M have been bringing to the table so far. And Gamers are 8 here. End up breaking up some of the barricades inside. Nice little tag on to KZ. Masterful way to use the Habana utility as well. Ever since they've been able to change the formation up for pellets, it's really, really strong against castle barricades, so many different things. KZ might have the hop here. There's no claymores on M80, so this could be successful. He's been hot marked, though. He's going to get out of the hot zone before he gets his head lopped off.
He tried to swing forward here, looking for an opportunity to get a peek on this bedroom assault, but not been able to line up for it just yet. He's tried to go for it a good 4 to 5 times as well, so he's being as active as he possibly can be in this situation here. Nade, great positioning for him. He knows something's up, and he unfortunately is not going to be able to stop it quickly enough. Does allow Gomez to get away with one before the trade goes away. That'll lead to the elimination of Felipox once again. KZ finally striking true there and finishing off the remaining HP on Kino. However, it's outside the window, so more than likely going to see him get retrieved. You can already see that happening right now as the backup is happening towards Diaz. Diaz is being a little careful just due to how aggressively KZ was playing on this flank earlier, or playing on this window peak earlier on. Holds it off for a few seconds before actually going for the revive, but they do indeed get him back up. Back to the 4v3 right now. M80 continuing to slowly work these peaks on the bedroom window and trying to establish presence on a few other angles, but the one attempt they made over towards the trophy connector has failed so far. So they're going to run into an issue here where this is going to start to look like a pretty one-dimensional take sooner rather than later, and indeed that will lead to the numbers being evened up. Kino gets down for a second time, and this time finished off as well. We are starting to see some control go into M80's hands. Spoit most notably there, pushing through the master bath and out from that, I believe, to take down JV92. That restores the kill advantage into M80's favor. KZ trying to push it even further than this as well, but unfortunately he'll go down as well finally with his aggressive adventures. Finally getting the better of him. Iconic, however, getting caught, I believe, by a frost trap maybe?
Razor Bloom.
Oh yeah, Razor Bloom. Thank you, Stokes. As he'll get knocked down by that. Good news for M80. They still have the 2v1 advantage, even with Iconic being down a few seconds prior there. And there you go. A nice swing from Spoit will finish it off, and M80 will tie us up at 1-1.
M80 not overcommitting themselves and allowing W7M to kind of make some plays where they practically waltz right into the setup of M80, especially that kind of frost situation that we saw inside of Master. Very well done from M80 to try and keep the play going. Especially, even though things didn't work out for Iconic, appreciate him going for the rotation and looking for a different front to try and assault the building from. The Razor Bloom does catch him, but at the end of the day, you still want to try and see those rotations come through. M80 will tie things up after they get this assault done on the building in round 2.
KZ there lining up that very nice shot. We saw him pretty much taking the whole round to find it, but he does eventually get it. Just couldn't push his aggression any further than that, unfortunately, as he made it too. Obviously, he was trying to play in the face or at the tail end there, in the back of the members of M80, so they had a permanent flank watch established. Dealt with him pretty easily, and then it was just cleanup duty on the swing out into Astro past that point. We saw, of course, Spoit picking up most of the kills there. Even affair so far here at 1-1. W7M does feel that they can just go for the retry here on Trophy and Statuary. And we'll see if this will yield results for them. Slight change-ups to the operator lineup here to slow down the pacing from M80. We'll have to see if it will work. They have a little bit of commitment over here to the aviation and game side as well to potentially cut off those early lurks from M80.
Gonna bring Ying back in. Iconic will be on the ace this time. 3 separate operators for Iconic. Versatile player, always has been. The scary thing about it is he can just frag out on anything too. Just has to find that moment for himself. He's a facilitator. That's what M80 loves about him. This entire roster of M80 has been building for some time. A couple switch outs over the last handful of years here, but definitely a roster, especially in its current iteration, that definitely hold a candle to a lot of top teams around the world. One that you'll definitely be looking for in the early parts of next year. Get back to SI. And then this team will definitely be rolling. M80's been working on themselves. It's been working this tournament so far. Trying to prove it here against W7M. So far, so good in round 3. Continues to build itself up. Some soft breach going out, trying to create some new lines of sight over for Astro, or towards Trophy. Gomez does have presence down low. Doesn't have to worry about any other fellow, though, minus Fleepox, but he's on the other floor here. He doesn't get in on a cam inside of the actual space. Oh, there was a cam, but as long as we don't see Gomez get on a camera here, he should be fine. Gonna have to pop that open. He goes for the kitchen swing here. That's really all he had at his disposal at that moment, and it's actually gonna be Iconic that's starting to receive the blunt end of the stick.
All quiet right now in this round. Neither team really wanting to test the waters, it seems. That does, by default, yield a little bit more control.
Yeah, W7M really just not favoring what happened that last round.
I mean, yeah, it went pretty handily into M80's favor because of the fact that they tried to stick out so much. Like I said, at the tail end of the round, it was kind of getting obvious in the case of KZ, although he bounces back here now in round number 3, finding the first pickup for his team. Kino trades that out, though, finishes off Nate, and that's not the other player that was down. You can see that on the right side. That's still Hearns down on the ground right now. Another swift entry coming in, but a good hop out from Felipox in Mudroom. He finds a trade at least onto Iconic. Hearns looks like he might actually get retrieved, which is very needed right now, considering that they would be down to a 3v2 otherwise. However, Spoit spots it, finishes off Hearns after the revival now. Knows that someone would have more than likely had to pick him up, so they should expect a second player to come from that direction. Felipox trying to rotate through red, more than likely over to Astro Stairs, and KZ taking all the aggression in the meanwhile here. Felipox trying to get intel to play off of, but not a lot being presented other than that little drone spot he got. So KZ
seconds.
Also going to be forced back. You mentioned from Stokes there. Once again, Felipox just bleeding out the intel right now, trying to see if he can deny the plant more than anything. That's what he's going for here. He'll try to rotate back up towards Smart. Kino goes for the plant, but no, it's too late. It'll all go down onto the ground here. Diaz as well with the counter to KZ's wrap into Statuary. Leaves Felipox off on an island for the 1v3. Good start to this clutch as he absolutely slams the head off of Kino. But 2 more kills to go, and these are the tough ones. They're both on the other side of the site. It's an easy swing from the bomb chassis there for our second player on M80 to shut him down if he goes for the counter defuse. So we'll have to hunt for these kills directly. And that'll run him right into the crossfire between Spoit and that other remaining member of M80. M80 with the lead now, 2-1.
It's exploitable for Spoit, man. Triple kill for him on that round, and the patience play from both of these teams. M80 able to keep things straight. You can just see how happy Bibu is back there. They've got the lead on the offensive side, and they are firing here right now. Love what we saw in the dying moments of that, John. If you guys saw, Kino immediately recognizing that Solus is still on the board. Felipox is around this space, and he needs to plant on something that is a hard surface. So where does he plant? Concrete. The only place in that entire area that can't get exploded without standing on top of a table where they could potentially find an angle still. So they have to try and work their way up through the trophy door, and that's just practically impossible. I mean, Felipox does hit a nice shot, but with so many bodies still up, and I mean, especially Spoit, come on, man.
So a trophy not working out. Thankfully, w7m do not have to go for a tertiary set as they play that one 2 times in a row. So it's going to re-unlock AVG where w7m have already had some success. Now, we have to remember what happened back on round number 1. M80 went for a bit of a coin flip strat. They tried to kind of rush things a bit. Their operator selections, they had the blitz, as well as the guard hook operator to try and swing themselves into the site. And they had mixed results, got very close to winning it, but ultimately couldn't close it down. So they're going to go for a more traditional route this time. And we'll have to just wait and see what kind of results those yield here. Because w7m obviously gets away with one stopping that faster play from M80, but so far the slow, more default plays over on Trophy have been yielding pretty good results for the North American squad. And from that, though, very similar lineup going to come in here again for w7m. The mirror will also be added into the hold as well to stop and give better intel on some of those more default pushes. In fact, we actually have one down here as well for Felipox to play into over here in the art vault, believe it or not. So this will be interesting to see how he tries to toy with this position if M80 is going to go for a more direct first floor clear.
Well, they've set up the phalanx here. They have to try and come at it from the sides, John. Use those cavalry units. M80. Breaking down the map. They already got Spoit in inside of this first minute. No real presence from w7m across the top of this map, as John was referencing. All built up, all over on their portion of the building. They're holding down low. Oh, a little unluck there from Iconic. Gonna end up burning one of his Selmas, and he's actually down to 1 there too. So that is definitely going to leave them a little worse for wear, but fortunately enough, they got 2 hard breachers, so not the biggest deal at the end of the day.
The rest of M80 still working on clearing things out. They do have the intel on this mirror right now. Felipox will be powerless to stop his mirror window from being destroyed here, unfortunately. Now it's pressure boiling in for both sides also. Pre-placed drone there spots him out, but I don't believe it was actively being watched. While the drone is dead, they don't have the intel on where specifically he rotated back towards. They don't have anyone watching main lobby currently either, so we could either still be there in library, could have rotated all the way back. That's a bit of a question mark right now for M80 until they either get another drone in there or swing someone through it directly. Time is still in M80's favor right now, but they do need to start speeding things up a bit here as we're approaching the 1-minute mark, and w7m are still working, as you can see here for Spoit, on clearing out the first floor extension. Felipox with a good hold initially here. Spotted that mirror strikes. Like I said before, they didn't know whether she fell completely back or not, and that's going to open up the window for a second kill as well. Felipox goes 2 for no so far here. Still alive, still holding back the play on the inside of Library. Kino finally trades one out, but it's on a completely separate part of the map over by 90. He takes him down there and at least opens up a small path forward. Good nade dink. Unfortunately, Felipox is able to rotate slightly away from that one, so he'll take minimal damage from it. KZ is still holding the line on main stair too, and there's only 1 player positioned by Study to try and press him out right now. M80 incredibly split up. This is going to be a very, very ragged attempt to take control of the site from a 3v4.
Got 2 on Study side. Kino on the back end. Fighting a little rub. Getting up to Herds here to try and shut this down. Kino's got him stunned down, but wow, what a moment there from Herds. KZ will take one down with the bailiff. It's all up to DS. Lucas to take out KZ. It'll be Felipox with the Vector yet again. A triple kill of his own after Spoit not won the last round. To tie things up here 2-2, and they are neck and neck. Even these rounds where the respective teams are winning their rounds, right? It is still very close on these engagements. So those little micro decisions from both of these teams that are getting one over on the other. Now the real choice is, what does w7m want to do for a site? They're trying to link together rounds here, John. They want a successful defensive end on Villa. They're not looking for a 3-3 split.
Yeah, I think if they decide to go upstairs again, that might be a bit of a mistake, and yeah, they aren't going to go for that, thankfully. They're going to go downstairs instead. So they can still play the natural extension upstairs in the bedroom, similarly to how they were doing it back on actual trophy site, but they are going to play into the kitchen instead, hope for better results there, and the fact they now have a bit more room to kind of fall back and play their positioning out a bit more, which worked well for them. Obviously, W7 or M80 not really giving a whole lot of respect over, which I didn't even notice that. KZ getting a kill as well with the secondary shotgun pistol, so nicely done for him.
Got the bailiff, baby.
But yeah, a big point I was trying to make there is just the fact that once again, the members of W7 or members of M80 just not giving anywhere near the amount of respect that was needed over to that library hold, and that just wasted far too much time, unfortunately. And unfortunately, took too many of their players away as well. Felipox getting away with that double kill probably should not have happened.
I think really what that built up to was the fact that W7M was able to abuse the drone game so heavily, because going into the last portions of that round, and by last portions I mean like last minute 30, they only had 4 drones, and 3 of them were active, more than likely on like flank watch and some other crosses and that kind of stuff, and they only had 1 in their pocket. So they honestly, what they needed is that last drone to kind of just be utilized and clearing that out before they ended up trying to throw some bodies at it. But I mean, beggars can't be choosers. They had some moments there where they could have just taken out, you know, Fleabox, but he's just really strong in those gunfights, man, and so is M80. It's really a coin flip either way you slice it. Same right there. They are pixels away from removing each other's head. You just never know which way it's going to go. Anytime that I see engagement, I'm like, flip that coin, baby.
KZ just dips his toe into the water there, sees if he can find anything. Unfortunately not, but still a pretty safe peek, ultimately, the fact that no one else had repelled up there just as of yet. Oh,
nice.
Unfortunate, as I believe they
nice. Oh no!
That out from the other side. Nade hits a second one as well. Actually, no, misses the second one there. Hits the frame and ends up damaging himself a little bit too. Gomez will move out now that he's cleared out the majority of that other side of the first floor.
It's like me throwing my HEs in Counter-Strike, dude. It's bouncing back in my face all the time.
I mean, it's the Azami, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. Just patch up the hole real quick and you're good to go for the time being. So at least has that. At least has that in his pocket.
Bob the Builder, man. Can we fix it? Yes, we can. Oh, Spoit, feeling himself. In, out, to the side. Dip, dash, dodge. No kill just yet. Those ones inside of AVG. Rather Astro. I mean, impact out. That could have potentially done some serious damage to him. And knocked him down by about 40, 50 HP. But fortunately enough for him, he was inside of the shower, which apparently is very safe for explosives, so.
Away from that. M80 still moving quite slowly through this clear of the map they need to achieve for themselves, but we're likely going to start to speed things up relatively soon. They're aware of the timing here as well. Kino still looking to isolate out any players on the inside.
This cadence
Gomez
is crazy.
just storming
this
through
cadence,
well.
man.
Catching Felipox on the rotate back down. Thought he'd be able to trade it. No, Gomez more than ready for it as he picked up the double. That's most of the horizontal pressure now dealt with. You still have, I believe, Herds or potentially KZ hiding out upstairs. He's currently on the inside of Pantry. However, he's seen that presence sensor, so he sees this peek coming from a mile away. Beautiful trade. Great use of the utility. Herds, the meanwhile, no respect. Just goes forward and swings the bedroom. Did not expect 2 players to be there, so Diaz gets the instant trade for himself. M80 maintain a +1 advantage. They have intel on Nade. There we go. Iconic capitalizes upon it. KZ is all that's left now. He's going to try to get aggressive here in the 1v3, but Iconic as well. Far too ready for that type of play. Shuts it down. And M80 take the lead yet again here as we head into the final round of the half.
M80 know, John. They know what is going on in this map. It almost seems like clairvoyance there from Spoit, but obviously not. That was a lot of heavy lifting in the info department to understand how the map was set up by W7M. And now they've earned themselves 3 offensive rounds here on Villa, especially up against W7M. Pretty good start here. Now, the key thing is for W7M, they've had some pretty strong defenses. Their offense is where they have been dastardly throughout this tournament. So I really want to see how things go when they have split, but M80 with a solid chance to end up bringing us to a 4-2 half.
Beautifully done here so far from M80, keeping an even keel at minimum so far in this first half. Time to see if they can push that envelope one step further, as W7M unfortunately failing to yield results in the downstairs hold. Well, they're going to fall back on one of the only other sites that they unfortunately have not been able to close out for themselves yet. They're back over in Trophy and Statuary for a 3rd time now. Some changes coming up into the way that they're setting this site up that hopefully should allow them to hold it back a little bit longer. Mainly these castle barricades and the mirror windows going down on the inside of the bedroom walls there. Have to wait and see if that finally changes up the status quo here for W7M.
These mirror windows, always difficult to deal with, but really loving the setup that we're seeing right now as they extend all the way over into AVG with those, using that side panel, forcing it to clear out. But that doesn't mean that M80 has to go for it. They can honestly just process this portion of the building, cut the hallways in half right there at the 90 over towards red area, and then just wait for W7M's rotations back and pick those players off. Looks like that actually might end up being the circumstance that we see, but as we've known from M80 throughout these rounds so far, they have a very solid timing where they're working through the map, trying to understand how things are going for W7M and then striking. This round, a little bit more direct from M80 as they're trying to get Spoit in down low just to try and hold on to any potential from W7M, especially inside of these nitro cells that could come back to bite them.
Fully boxed, as we saw him go down to the basement a second ago there. He may be trying to rotate back around through Pantry to fend off this kitchen take. As you can see, it's all clear on the inside of the second level of pantry itself, and of course, by tarps and kitchen. Nothing being found there. Gomez seems to have an inkling that someone may have rotated down into the basement to try and lurk this, though. And they've got a preset drone sitting at the bottom here. Iconic's drone may have actually already spotted this player, and there we go. Confirmation on it now for Fleetbox. So the surprise is ruined. Gomez is still going to have to spend some time down here making sure this player does not get away with anything. It'll turn into a little bit of time delay, but thankfully it seems like they're not committing too much. This is really just him. The other 4 players are still diligently working on getting that site control. You can hear the bottom pellets going down upstairs. It's more than likely dealing with that mirror window that have been set up, or potentially some of these castle barricades as well, so they'll knock those out quite quickly. Kurds will be trying to get in the way of this as much as he can. They're still slowly but surely losing all of that resistance they put up at the beginning of the round here, so we will have to be forced into a fight sooner rather than later.
All quiet around the map, at least when it comes to the frag department. A little bit of cannon fodder, nothing really landing. It's just free fires and some utility usage abound. M80 still having to be aware of the positioning of w7m throughout the map. They do still have a few bodies off the site. As we know, they chose to circumnavigate that, didn't want to try and process what's going on down low. Should be a kill here. Actually just going to rock KZ. Spoit will be able to pick him up, and that's going to be a nice trade there. Spoit yet again, man. High HP, but Fleetbox will let that Nitro sing. That's going to be a huge pickup, especially after Iconics went down as well. But you can see all of M80 awake when it comes to these frags, and Gomez, he's found his opportunity. This plant's going to start for Kino. They have to make sure these rotations cannot come in. Nade does still have a Nitro cell, but this plant's going to be confirmed. That Nitro cell, all for naught. It lands on the back of the deer statue. A frag grenade out in a dead man walking, as he won't even know it before he hits the floor. Nice headshot there from Diaz will deliver the 4-2 half as w7m cannot stave off this round.
Valiant attempt from w7m, just not an active of enough defense in my opinion there. Had to try and play a bit more in the face of the members of M80 with all of the castle barricades and the mirror windows they were trying to play off of there, but still tried to respect their opponents a bit too much. And because of that, they slowly but surely bled that upstairs positioning away to a degree where it looked very close at the end, but w7m had so many power positions to play from that with a few swift moves forward, they took full control of the site. They really only needed to make 1 to 2 entries, and they had a pretty safe plan avenue to work off of there as well. You saw that one member trying to rotate back in through Trophy Connector to pop off the Nitro, but from the looks of things, w7m didn't even have good intel where the plant was going down. They lost the plot by that point, unfortunately, and M80 took full control. They just overwhelmed Fleetbox and all the remaining defenders there. Beautifully done by M80, and it is going to give them a well-deserved 4-2 lead, switching on to their own defensive side.
All right, well, this is where we really get down to it. See what w7m are capable of. This entire tournament, their offensive sides have been immaculate. So much fun to watch. Hopefully we can get some more of that play here up against M80. Make this something interesting. Although, it definitely has been, even with the scoreline that we've gotten so far. Just excited to see what w7m has to offer, what they bring to bear here in round 7. Across the board, they're not even doing too shabby. Yeah, JV92 and Nade aren't doing all that great, but remember, it's a marathon, folks. It's not a sprint. Only 1/2 of one map so far. A lot of siege still left to be had, especially if w7m have something to say about it.
A very quiet start to things yet again. w7m taking some of the same steps we saw out of M80 and not wanting to overextend themselves in the first few seconds of the round. They don't need to rush to get control anywhere on the map. It's a slow process because they know that M80 are also going to be peppered around the map looking to try and take advantage of certain situations themselves. And indeed they are. As we're looking at it right now here, you can see one of the defenders tucked away, I believe by the main front door over there, actually. Because indeed, yeah, it's going to be Spoit playing on that position. Herds will try to nade out something above. Nothing's really there, though. But in the meanwhile, KZ has struck for the first kill on the round, taking down Gomez. Putting w7m in a better position here to bring us down to a 4v5 to start us out.
A little bit of a tragic pick there for M80 as well. Not exactly the operator you want going down. I believe Gomez was able to get off all those Kibas either. So, mostly dedicated towards the top floor, and oh my!
Spoit just wandering a bit too much there, unfortunately. Goes into enemy territory without even realizing it. Herds clips off his head like it's nothing. Brings it down to a 5v3 here. Not a whole lot those downside defenders can do at this point as well. Just have to kind of lock themselves into it. You can see, I believe that's going to be Iconic. Potentially Kino trying to make a play through Astro Stairs. It is Kino, just to confirm, but as well here. weren't really able to justify that push up the Astro stairs. They're trying to remain mobile here, but that sledge has opened up too much real estate on the top-down Kino. Bleeds out 2/3 of his HP in a wild swing into Pantry there. JV92 had been on that rappel for some time already, so shuts him down without too much of an issue. Just down to Iconic and Diaz. Iconic knows that at least one player has tried to walk past one of those fear mines a few seconds ago. Diaz strikes back against one, but they can't seem to stem the tide.
I was going to say, Iconic is still alive, guys.
Iconic's still in it. I know it's kind of obvious at this point he's going to win the round, but give him some respect here. There we go. Iconic. He's going to try to swing tarps one final time, and then there we go. W7M. Now they've won the round. It's going to be 4-3 on the scoreboard.
Oh my goodness gracious, that was awesome. It was
Production's like, oh, this next round, moving along. We know
things were going so well for W7M that they were convinced all of M80 was dead already. That is so awesome.
All good.
4-3 here, but W7M, like we were talking about, man, these offensive sides is where they are disgusting. Herds with a heck of a shot. Spoit went looking for a barber, and I think he chose the buzz cut there.
Very much the case. Oh, a smooth one there from Diaz as he at least gets away with the fade. He doesn't change the outcome of the round too much, but it's nice to respect a good frag when you spot it. Ultimately there, like I said, brings W7M, keeps this game close as they are just within 1 round's reach of M80 yet again here. W7M a few repicks coming into this second round now as we are going to see M80. Important to note, of course, that M80 do play what is usually a tertiary site for a lot of teams to start this map off. Not always the case necessarily. Some teams actually do prefer to go for that downstairs site, as we just saw with M80, but they're going to make a return to the usual picks now by going over here towards Trophy and Statuary. They're going to have a little bit more of a different setup on this one. They will leave one panel soft, and they're going to use the Castle Barricades to allow that to be a valid rotation option between Statuary and the Bathroom, of course. They'll look to extend their play into that a bit deeper in this round. We were seeing M80 as they wanted to play mainly just in the sites themselves.
Okay, well, Soul's on the board for M80, so we won't be able to recreate what we saw the last time we had a Nook in the basement. That is so where KZ chooses to go. Nor am I out here for M80, try and prevent some of these throwables from coming through, especially these frag grenades we have built up with KZ and Hurts. Leapox also can have his arrows countered out with those on my discs, just always keep that in mind too. Be a big piece to this puzzle later on down the line. Looks like they want to start things off on the master balcony, begin processing this top floor. A lot of M80 mostly focused on this portion of the building. No matter which floor it's on, you can see Iconic all the way downstairs waiting the arrival of any W7M member that wants to try and clear that basement. Will be on Fenrir, so he can control all of those dread mines across the map just simply by looking at them and clicking them through walls.
Hurts continues to swing through now that he's seen his teammate KZ take a bit more control over here into tarps. They felt it's safe to do so. Nades going forward as well, but it's going to be a big miss on that. M80 has already given over that real estate due to the incendiaries which have been tossed in a few seconds prior. As a result of that one, Nades, like I said before, not going to land this one as well, but going to be a complete miss. It's old intel, unfortunately, coming off of something prior. So KZ 0-2 on those nades. Hurts as well, completely out on his kit, and they fail to strike. So that's bad news for W7M in their overall utility game, but as long as they can swing forward here, like we said, they've got good intel right now on this Azami trying to play aggressively over towards Bathroom. Spoit's backed up a bit more into it. They know that she's playing directly onto this corner, but still can't lock her down. M80 are doing a great job of just delaying out time right now and wasting the utility in the process.
Crazy patience game from M80 right now. This is what you need. W7M are really good at finding these players trying to make those plays. M80 needs to try and keep this tight-knit where they have some players around to be able to assist them, because as we know with W7M, especially in the offensive sides, John, once it gets going, it seldom stops. There's always another player, another angle, another piece of utility ready to try and assist them with taking the round. And 9 times out of 10, it works out for them. Gomez looks like he wants to try and solve the puzzle, John. We'll see if he can get it against KZ. Nate will start the plant, JV92 with the cross. No nitros to try and prevent this. They do have some impacts, but it's not going to happen. Gomez will take down one KZ. A nice little trade there will happen. A double kill comes out from Herds. W7M able to get things done, but oh my, Kino! What a flick! The SMG-11 down to 2 for M80. Fleepox on the upside down rappel. He's got a nice angle here. Remember, the wall is open, so he can actually just abuse this window play here. They don't know if there's claymores down, though. And oh, Iconic! What a play! He just reinforces the panel. He starts defusing the cross. Oh, no! Oh, no, the timing! Felipox, he's got it!
That is the latest reinforcement I have ever seen. Look, even Boomer now was giving a thumbs up. He's like it was a good attempt for everybody right there.
What the hell did I just watch, man? There's no way that Kino hits those shots and then he can't kill the Capital sprinting across damn Master! What the hell just happened?
What a crazy
It's a
round.
4-4 scoreline. Let's move on. I'm freaking sick of it. I'm sick of it.
Here's the replays one more
My
time,
plane
folks.
flight can't come any faster.
In case you missed it, let's watch it one final time here.
You're such a damn troll, bro.
Herds on the entry.
Look at this.
Kino
Look
with
at
these
that.
flicks. Beautifully done.
But wait, there's
Yeah,
more. Hold on. There's a tragic tale to this one.
The
1 second.
post-plant reinforcement coming in hot here from Iconic.
Oh my gosh.
We see, unfortunately, cannot get the defuse,
Oh my
and
God.
obviously this becomes a huge double-edged sword then, because if Iconic left it open, Kino would have had a cleaner path through, but just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, the problem with that one is that Iconic dies instantaneously. He
Yeah.
doesn't reinforce that panel. So, honestly,
There is no real,
yeah,
there is no real path to victory there. Too.
it's just. I think the thing that actually just boggles my mind is that Kino heard this man get off of the rappel, and it just wasn't there in time to try and kill him.
Yeah.
Like, dude, everything went so right and then so very wrong.
You saw the player cams. Both teams were like, good stuff, guys. It was a great round.
Like, what
Everyone's
the-
giggling about that one, to be honest. Like,
That has to be one of the most entertaining rounds of Siege that I've seen in quite some time. Hats off to everybody right there. Iconic, what a damn play, man. You've always been a playmaker like that, man, ever since before you were a professional player. And I mean, he's just showing it off yet again, dude. That's those little things that you don't even think about. He's like, well, what happens if I reinforce the panel? Then what do you do?
I'd say, yeah, there's like no one else playing behind me, so it's like I'm gonna get shot while doing it. Like,
What's gonna happen? Kino's gonna miss his shots?
all right.
Sorry. Dude, I have so much respect for those guys. That's why I'm messing around.
So
No worries.
M80 is going to rotate back down the first floor. AC, that'll create a pillbox for him here to take down Gomez, giving him two different peak angles. He'll be regretting that opening now. Unfortunately, it opens up a box of death for himself there. He goes down. W7M will take the kill advantage here. Also going to get themselves into the site as well because of that one. There's no longer any presence to hold back the library play. Split will take down Nade, but Herds is well on his way to a plant, and there's nothing that's going to stop it. It's gone down onto the ground. They've got a decent enough post-plant angle to watch this, as you've seen right there. Philippe Box counters the play from Kino. Was wondering when we were going to see that aggressive swing from him, as he had been already maintaining that stair position. Here comes the rest of the team in the meanwhile. All that's left of it anyway, as Iconic works himself out, finds the first pick, but Diaz just has no easy way to swing around this corner. He's just got to coin flip it. Thankfully, it'll work. Picks up one, but his teammate goes down now. And once again, this front door position is just too hard to work against, unfortunately. KZ comes down the red hall and finishes it off. And now it's W7M with control over the situation at 5-4.
W7M go direct right into the back of library and get that plant down practically instantaneously. They don't even have to cancel it out. The smoke doesn't even asphyxiate him at all. Right in the corner. It's not end up working out for M80, so you got to feel for them on that one, especially after such a successful offensive half for themselves, 4-2. W7M have quickly bounced back, garnering 3 rounds for themselves, and now looking to push on to map point.
Arnie, unfortunately, just couldn't stem the tide against a very, very fast W7M here. Wanted to take initial control so quickly. Not to mention the fact they're just constantly winning their opening duels as well on this run for W7M. M80 just could not find a 1v1 to save their life. And with how individualistically they were playing, even ignoring the fact that, of course, they're down to like a 2v4 now, they don't really have a choice. It started right from the very beginning of the round when Gomez tried to take that peek against, I think it was Hertz, back over on those red stairs position. We just continued to see players falling like that throughout the course of the round, and unfortunately ended up costing M80 the round. I think that was the biggest part of it right there.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you on that one. But now, how's M80 try and tie things up? They're looking to try and take this in regulation. That would require a 3-round bout, all going their way. Kino's going to be on the pulse this time. They also have the Solus in play. Let's see if there's any Nook. Nothing just yet, but definitely a lot of drones abound, especially Brava in play. This is going to make things interesting for Spoit, as he can deal some serious damage to the utility game of W7M.
Can do that, but let's make sure he gets those drones in proper position to do so. More than likely going to be focusing on opening up things near pantry as well, so the team can try to pierce the veil there. Meanwhile, we still have some very aggressive positions in the early round for M80 to play onto. That's Iconic we're currently looking at over here by the bookcase 90. It's going to be rotating around the general AVG area to try and waste out more time here from W7M, as it does appear at least one or two of their players are trying to take control from this part of the map. The default's already been stolen away on 90, though, so that means Iconic's rotation option is going to be already incredibly limited here. It's failed to notice the default's gone, so or at least is choosing not to shoot it right now. So once more, that's just bleeding over so much free intel. We'll try to rotate back, and again, hasn't noticed it just yet here, so they know for certain the attacker's assist. He's playing right on that 90 angle. They're even going to go for the recheck for it right now. Iconic still trying to stay mobile, so at least he has that uncertainty to play inside of here. Gomez also looking for a pinch. Does he know that there's a player hiding right inside of Death's door? Well, he knows it now as KZ unleashes the spray. And oh, the sudden secondary headshot on the pistol from KZ to knock out Iconic. Split falls by Felipox's gun just a moment after that, with him now pushing onto the inside of Trophy. That should be most of the second floor cleared out here now, with still half the round to go.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
What do you do against a W7M that looks indomitable? Everything they do on offense just seems like it's dipped in gold, John. Nothing can go wrong. Cruising on Highway 66. Nothing going for M80. Nitro Cell not even landing. KZ does have some damage dealt to him, but he's still able to break up so much of this flooring. Gomez trying to work his way through. Diaz will help him out a little bit as they're trying to rotate through Bike, potentially work their way up red. But here's the problem, John. There's so many bodies out for W7M that really any rotation can go punished. I mean, how much info game do they have? Oh, there it is, M80. Big play finally works its way in. It's the dying minute. Nitro Cell out, as well as a nice little ump kill. Able to at least claim 2 and equalize. Was a little worried about those initial rotations coming through, but it seems to have worked out for M80. And now W7M have to do some problem solving of their own.
With W7M continuing to look for options.
Did he actually just shoot to mask his drop?
Yep.
That's hilarious.
So I'll try to mask that one. Should have worked as well. The transitions over here through to the site, or at least is trying to. Felipox with the swing and the connection onto Gomez there, right in the shoulder. Diaz, though, still in sight, still causing problems. He trades one back here, but at the same time, Nade lambs another player out. That's Kino getting eliminated. It's all on Diaz now for the 1v2. Needs to deny this plant. Does he know where it's going down? That's the big problem. And he won't even get a chance as JV92 knocks him out instead, with W7M now pushing themselves onto map point for the first map.
They haven't dropped a round on this offensive half so far. If they end up taking this, that's going to be 5 offensive rounds in a row. It's just, wow. Incredible from W7M, especially from what we saw initially. It really seemed like M80 could have a chance moving into this second half. They just have to try and stay toe-to-toe with W7M. But we see how practically impossible that is. They are playing such stellar Siege.
Beautiful stuff being played by W7M right now, whether it's the early, mid, or late round. They are not taking any prisoners inside of these early clears they're trying to go for, just immediately locking out members of M80 as soon as they can build the player presence to do so here. And M80 again are no slouches. They're finding opportunities to fight back. You saw it there, Diaz getting away with one from the Red Stars flank, but it just does not matter when W7M is finding twice or 3 times the amount of progress and just in terms of their map clear and overall clearing out the M80 defenses alongside of themselves trying to fight back against it. AVG is where we are going to go for potentially the last round of this map. M80 now need to lock down 2 sites in a row. That'll only trigger overtime at this point. Repicks will come in as W7M was not necessarily expecting this site, so they just need to go for a few thematic changes. They'll bring the Brava back in, the Nomad as well, since they're probably going to try to play around the hallways here so they can lock out flanks very easily. Herds as well with the Ying too, just for the actual entry power. And alongside of that, some pretty normal additions.
Device planted.
All right, M80. What do we got in the tank, boys? We need 2 rounds here, and that's overtime. But we know how just difficult that is. It's been 4 rounds in a row for W7M. M80 having some chances, but even when they seemingly have the best chance, like what we saw from Iconic, that reinforcement, W7M have this sprinkle of magic dust on the offensive side. Seems like no matter what, nothing can potentially go wrong for them. They're bulletproof. And they practically know that too.
Herds and the rest of W7M continue to look for all opportunity they can find in order to entry their way into this map here. In the meanwhile, for M80, player count. Oh no, once again, Felipak just finds an open window on the extension from M80 and slams it shut. Gomez and now Spoit both eliminated in the first minute and a half of the round here. Nope, having to re-rotate himself back into the site here, at least leave a window open for another one of his teammates to do that here. So once again, Nate just getting away with all these steals on the inside of the site right now. 2 Dread Mines down. Those are the 2 big ones as well. They'll miss the shot on this one, and now they can steal a 3rd one away. Okay, that one will get denied at least, but still already just the 2 ones being stolen away. And the fact that they know that there's a 3rd one already opened up and activated over top of Study. This Nitro, let's see.
The lineup!
Oh, wow, nicely done from Diaz. Gets one against JV92. Still down by a player, but at least that helps to probably slow things down a bit on the side of W7M. Oh, maybe not so much though, especially if Kino goes down here. He's got the tape rip, or at least tries to for a second, but pays no mind to the Study window. Nate peeks into it and gets a free pick for himself as Kino goes down. Diaz and Iconic scratch that. Just Diaz is all that remains. He's got to take down 4, or this is it. The map is over. No, can't shoot that Candela quickly enough, but he's got the smart glasses to unblind himself. Pops it, but no, the control again is too fast from W7M. A perfect attacking half as they absolutely shut down M80 here on our first map.
It seemed like M80 had a chance, but quickly it turned to Snowball's chance in hell, as there was really nothing they could do to W7M. And you see it. You see it. You already see the conversation going back and forth in between these 2 teams. Herd saying, what? You shaking? You shaking, boy? Iconic going, nah, man. You just wait for map 2, baby. You wait for map 2. And listen, man, if this is anything like what we expect out of M80 and out of W7M and out of Iconic, I mean, we could have a heck of a game coming up soon. Ladies and gents, we are going to throw y'all to a very quick break. And when we come back, we'll be here with match 2.
مستمتع وتلاقي الوجبة جاية على الأصول يجيك العيش هش طالع من الأوفن والدجاج يقرمش just the way I love it وتسوي كده وتسوي كده وتسوي كده مع الحشمة وانت تبغى راب خفيف اجيب تويستر انا اجيب لي وجبة الزنجر بس كله يجيب اكسترا تشيز على الكرانشي تشيكن في السنتر حطلب باكيت حطلب زنجر حطلب مايتي حطلب تويستر جيب له باكيت جيب له زنجر جيب له الأصلي جيب له تويستر delicious yeah
Welcome back to Gamers8 live in Riyadh featuring Siege. We have the final best of 3F today going on, and w7m just put themselves in the lead by winning their own map pick. I'm Gina, your host on the SCC Play desk for the post-match with Jesse and Demo. It's lovely to have you back. We were talking about this game specifically, Villa being that map where we were expecting w7m to come out swinging, but my goodness, it was a bloodbath from both of these teams.
I feel like you hate to see these types of games. You hate to see these games where they start off competitive, you start off getting really good back and forth, and then at one instant, things fall apart. Because the first half was really good. I mean, M80, obviously the 4-2 split, they were feeling strong about their attacks. I thought the intel was really good, the drones were strong, it was giving Spoit some really good picks as he entered in for the opening frags. Did a really good job throughout that first half. And when they swapped sides, you know, the first round, round 7, it didn't really go their way. Round 8, though, Demo, everything just kind of fell to pieces.
Yeah, it's where we can go back and say this is where it was won and lost for either side, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah, I think so.
Such a unique round. That's the only way you can describe it. About 20 different emotions we went through.
Yeah.
Us in the green room, let alone what the players were thinking about. And obviously, you've seen it was the gestures that came out after it, w7m almost applauding M80 for what they done, and then vice versa, M80 applauding w7m what they've done as well.
Love the vibes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of gets to you a little bit, right?
Yeah,
Here's the disaster moment. Getting on past, yeah, really tough one there for M80, and I don't think they ever recovered. You know, I think that second half, they really did struggle with some of the basics. The roamers were always going down early. Spoit, Gomez weren't really able to work together. Iconic kind of going down in big, important moments. It was an unfortunate kind of turn of events. Even at the end there, we saw the default cam get hacked by Felipox on the 90 clear on Iconic the entire time. They get the pings on him. They go for that double clear, big 2K to start the round. You know, it's those types of rounds that we saw almost exclusively after that massive clutch.
Yeah, we already seen a little bit of a replay of round 8 specifically on the highlights, but we're gonna have a little bit more of a dive into that round specifically because so much happened and it was swinging back and forth continuously.
You think at this stage, right, 40 seconds to go, 5v5, this can go anywhere. Never did we think it was going to go where it did. w7m obviously going to try and prioritize the plant. M80 battling back. Kino goes unchecked for the majority. You know, Kino being able to rotate back and walk in is incredible to get to that stage, Jesse. And we're sitting there thinking, okay, yes, it was good from M80, good retake. w7m now are going to be stuck inside of 1v2. But Felipox in a great position. It's punted for him. You go for the upside down repel. Little do we know, there is a pocket reinforcement. I would be surprised if it's for this, if it's specifically for this, but oh boy, did it work. Up until about, in 2 seconds, it doesn't, Jesse.
No, I mean, this is such a genius move from Iconic. Reinforce the wall, forces Felipox to an impossible situation. He just says, screw it, I can run past the guy in the bathroom, in the closet. Kino just lets him go by, despite having such a massive play to start off that round, to pull it into their domain. From the Kino, pushing into bathroom, having some great shots. He just lets it slip at the end.
I mean, we all gotta give him a round of applause for that one. Like, they did that. They did that, okay? They're those guys. But it's also when we're looking at Felipox specifically and the weight that he had throughout this game. Jesse, you've been mentioning on the desk over the last couple of days as well. Maybe one of the most underrated players in terms of the roster that he is, because the w7m roster is just so many great gunners. It's kind of sometimes a little bit difficult to stand out. But this game he did.
I mean, you look at w7m and you talk about your KZ, you talk about your Herds, you talk about the big gunners that everybody knows and loves.
Jesse.
Yeah.
Remember this.
Volt was a great player, right? Obviously snatched off to Team Liquid, and we didn't really see any maybe hope for Team or for w7m. And then Felipox coming into this roster. Not only is he getting every clutch that he needs to, both in the Copenhagen finals and here at Gamers8, but he's ITLing this team too. He's the brains behind the operation, making sure that the attacks go off without a hitch, and they so often do, like every single attacking round on Villa. Just an absurdly good player. Nobody's talking about Felipox enough. He is out of his mind at this event.
Team was great. I thought w7m, every time I watch them, I just think, it's a bit of me. That's the kind of
It's
season
a bit
I
of
love
me.
to see.
Shut up!
And the
Bit of me.
The way they play on defense anyway, they're such a unit. Like an actual unit. You look at the roams that they do, it's like a triangle if they're all together. You know, it's like as if you know, you're shoulder to shoulder in a sense, but it's It's so difficult to play against something like that.
Yeah.
Because you not every team plays like that, so you don't get the practice that you can. You almost just need to keep meeting w7m at events to really know what they're doing.
I think the coordination for them is just at another level, you know? It's almost like somebody's playing in third person, dictating where the pieces need to go and making sure, okay, we got a guy here, we got to fight, let's put 3 guys on him and then make sure there's definitely going to be a trade there. It's an unrivaled level of coordination on both attack and defenses from w7m, and it's why so many teams have troubles facing this giant.
Yeah, and we were talking about M80 as well, specifically, and one of their players, Spoit, specifically, Demo, one of your favorite players in the game.
Jess actually doesn't like Spoit.
That's not true.
That's
I like
true.
Spoit. Spoit's a very good player.
No,
I've said this time and time again.
Right? And then Demo was like, yeah, he has such a good first half. And then Jesse goes, yeah, but what about the second one?
He's so half glass empty with Spoit.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit
you
more positive.
Spoit, no. Spoit comes with like a big resume, a big hype list, and he does fulfill it.
Whenever he came here, NA, we done the exact same question, and we said, is Spoit overrated? You said, yes, he is.
No. I said slightly yes.
You said
I said
yes.
slightly
Oh,
agree.
yes.
Because he's hyped up as like the greatest player ever, and he's very, very good. He's amazing on this roster. He played so well through this first half. I'd say 3 rounds out of the 6 that this first half went through for M80 were really off the back of Spoit, getting amazing entry frags. But then you look at that second half, and off on the roam on the Azami, what's he getting done? Not a whole lot. And so, like, for a big star fragger from M80, he's a good player, right? I'm not trying to stand up here and say that he's bad, but you know, there's other good players.
Okay.
There's other good players.
I mean, it happens to the best of us. We got some ups and downs, but we have Chalet coming up next, and that is supposed to be the up for M80. Realistically, from what we've seen, the game went pretty close up until a certain point. The question remains, does M80 have what it takes to reset after that round 8? Because that round 8, if that was your ranked game, Jesse, you would have probably just like close your laptop.
I would be logging off. That's for
for
sure.
a while.
Bottle of filler, that, isn't it?
Listen, Demo, theme park up next, right? This is a map that w7m have never lost, full stop. They've played it 4 times, and decently recent results as well. Once at Yangtze, twice at SI, once through stage 1. So it's not like we're going back to the archives here. w7m have never lost this map either. Now, it's great for M80 on their own 4-game win streak with only 1 loss this year, so they're quite good at it too. But to be picking a map that your opponents are so good on when they have the momentum is a scary thing.
Yeah, it's 9 times out of 10, whenever you kind of look at theme park as a map, it will be something that does favor teams who will start off quick, because we see a lot of times where 7-2, 7-1s are very common, just because of the side start that you can rack up into. And I think with w7m, they're already hot. They've already got their first map under their belt. For M80, they're gonna need to come out swinging and try and, I mean, that almost feels M80 need to come in here in 7-1, 7-2.
Yeah,
it feels like that.
It's going to be tough when w7m gets to dictate what side they start on, too.
Yeah, that's not an easy competition to deal with, but we say that M80 needs to come out swinging. It did feel, though, that first map, that's exactly what they did, up until it didn't go their way.
Yeah, I mean, I think, right, they came in with the mute ban. I talked about the observation blockers and how good that was for NIP in the last Villa game that M80 played, you know? And I think that mute ban is specifically designed to make those observation blockers weaker. It's a lot less effective when you can get a drone and just drive it past the obs blocker. A mute kind of stops that from happening. And so we saw that coming through on the side of M80 that enabled them to do very well in their attacks. But again, the momentum shift and going against the attacking giants of w7m, who I think are the best attacking team in the world, it's a tall order, and I don't know if that's if the map change to theme park is going to be enough.
Yeah, I agree. I think that w7m, I'm sure Ying will probably be up there straight. I think Ying's a great great operator for looking at theme park and the rooms and the cut-offs you can have with it. Again, bans obviously dictate. I think if Azami's up, theme park becomes nightmare fuel. Attackers are going to really struggle getting into the building for that.
Yeah, I really do think this is going to be a tough one, of course, all on the line. M80, I'm hoping to see a little bit more out of Iconic today, maybe Gomez as well, Diaz too, but we'll have to wait and see.
We're going to wait and see as w7m look to continue that potential revenge against BDS in the finals, but M80, they want to get there too, so let's get it started.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, time for map number 2 as W7M take relatively swift control of their own map pick on map number 1. Now it's time to go to M80's on Theme Park and see if we'll get more of the same or a rebirth for the North American squad to push us on to our 3rd and final map of Chalet. W7M has the first ban coming up here in a second, as well as the last ban, and M80 has the next 2. Montaigne is going to be where we head with these bans. It makes perfect sense. M80's used him quite a bit specifically on this map, and he can be quite annoying when he's allowed to have his way, specifically with areas like Throne Room.
Absolutely. M80 versus W7M on potentially our last map here. And you heard it first from Jesse. W7M have not lost this map the entire year. 4-0 on it. And M80 only dropping 1 map of their own. Herds with a lot to say after that last game. Throwing up the hands, throwing up the shake. Saying M80 aren't ready for this. And Iconic saying, well, let's just wait for map 2, man. Let's just see what happens. So I'm here for it, man. Let's see what these 2 superstars have in store for us. I'm extremely excited. This is where stars are made. This is where we see what M80 are capable of. If you aim for the king, John, you better not miss. You better hit him in the damn head. And M80 got to start here on Theme Park.
All right, well, round 1's coming up here. Let's take a look and see what exactly W7 we're going to try to deploy towards. No surprise here when it comes to site selection. They'll go right for Armory as well as Throne Room. That's the go-to for most teams still. So lock themselves right into that one. And as well, pretty straightforward operator selection for that. The real thing we need to pay attention to is how M80 are going to attack it, as there's been quite a few ways to approach this very difficult to crack site over the past few months. Teams are trying to kind of edit their way to go about it more and more. It doesn't look like we're going to anything too crazy from M80. Oh, the Glaz pick is certainly interesting. I'm more curious to see if it stays, and it doesn't, so it's not too surprising, given that the Glaz can be pretty rough, in my opinion, to try and work this site with. So they'll go over towards a Buck instead for Gomez, as they are missing it. The top down's not necessarily crucial, but the soft breach capability is potentially something that still are going to need in the midst of this round. And actually, a Blitz and a Thermite being added to it, and the line. Okay, and maybe might be going for something quick here. We'll have to wait and see. Oh, and the Grim pick for Kino, too.
Got some bees there. Not the bees. Not the bees. Actually, kind of perfect. Honestly, like, the bees aren't exactly the greatest thing. I kind of wish they redesigned them. I kind of wish they were actually worked as like beehives, but yeah, it is what it is. You know, I'm a caster at the end of the day. So I honestly like it though, because you can use it for the back end of Throne, which is a really pivotal spot for a lot of players playing deep inside of the setup. So something that M80 can try and exploit later on in this round if they so choose. Iconic is going to be back onto the Blitz. We saw this in the very first round of Villa. It's going to come back to rear its ugly head yet again here in round 1 of Theme Park.
This could just be a quick pop of the maintenance wall here and then walk right in with the Blitz is more than likely what we're going to get. And indeed, we've got 4 players stacked here. Impact DMP is going off quite quickly. They did not oh no, there's actually a push forward down the Dragon Stairs by KZ, and he completely denies the opening just by shooting it with his gun. Nice spur of the moment play from him. Is, like I said, as far as I'm aware, M80 was good to go into the site right there. No longer is that the case with that denial.
Big problems now for M80. How do they go about dislodging these players up top? Already starting to run into some problems. KZ! Oh, what a moment there for him as he's able to cross the barrier. A perfectly timed Kiba able to save himself. EE1D out the swing coming through, and what a shot there from Kino to take down KZ. But it'll be a quick trade back and forth. JV92 with some nice shots onto DS Lucas. And now these 2 have equalized with only half the round remaining.
As we can see, oh no. Thought he was ready for a fight, but Spoit's just a little more ready, it seems. He swings the hash.
Had to try and hit him with the zone there, whereas Spoit was actually already ADS'd, and that's the key difference, man. Fleepox, though, will be able to yet again find another kill. And this is what I'm really worried about, John. Theme Park is very defensive-oriented, and I 100% agree with what Jesse was saying on that analyst desk. I think that W7M is the best attacking team in the entire world right now. They look unrivaled in their potential, so that means that M80 really need to get a lot done on this offensive side, because we don't really know what the future holds.
A disruption from Fleepox as well as a few other members of this Roam team from W7M right now. Seconds to none. Not a whole lot you can do about this. The flash to his face and the pitch from the other side. Tries to close the gap, but yeah, just no winning that fight. Unfortunately for Fleepox. Did the best he could by trying to close the gap and knife Iconic, but it did not work out. So he goes down. That is going to re-equalize the numbers to a 2v2. Nate, of course, with the downing of his teammate, is well aware of this connector push coming forward. He's going to close the gap. Switch over to the M590 tape rip. Oh, he gets pegged in the face with the beehive right there, but still is given the opportunity to pop off, of course.
Oh, no.
Into Iconic
Oh,
face.
no.
He can't survive. And JV92 cuts off his feet to end the round.
I can't believe that Kino actually smacked him in the face with the beehive there.
It's like, oh, you're there.
Reminded me of that Austin Powers line where he's like, oh, beehive. You need to calm down back there, mister. Well, first round from W7M, and what a ludicrous one. Right from the jump, we were already getting icing on the cake, man.
Great stuff from KZ, because he pretty much single-handedly stops the site play from being a success.
Oh, yeah, their full game plan out the window.
He notices, like, it's pretty quiet around the map. Also, they have a blitz, so let me just... Oh, yeah, look, hard breach. Boop.
He just heard like the sliding of the shield of him moving around the map like a damn train. It's like, oh, I wonder what you guys were doing over at maintenance. Oh, isn't that curious?
Oh, that's cool. There's a huge piece of utility here. I'm just gonna shoot that.
You only have 2 of those? That really sucks.
I only have 1.
I'm sorry about your damn luck. That's pretty unfortunate, honestly. And really, I think the one thing that I will say about that is that I'm a little disappointed that M80 didn't at least have somebody over near like 90 to be able to like cover that kind of space. But you know, it is what it is. M80, I mean, if they have literally 1 more second, they blow right onto site, and it's just hell in a handbasket. You really don't know how that one's gonna go.
I didn't even realize it there as well, but the Nitro that killed Kino at the end after he hit Nade in the face with the beehive was actually placed inside of the connector, so Kino had to peek it to die to it. Swung around the corner, tried to shoot it, but it blew up literally the moment he did it. It's horrible timing for Kino.
Why did you tell me that? Kino has gotten the short end of the stick throughout this entire series, bro.
Just horrible timing right there.
Poor guy. First things first, he stops.
He waited a good like 2-3 seconds too, because Nade was still like, whoa, what did I just get hit with? Like when he got hit in the face with the beehive, he didn't immediately blow it up. So he waited a few seconds, and Kino was like, okay, maybe I can shoot. Oh, no, I'm dead. Like it just... What are you gonna do? You know, like just forget it and move on.
This
if you're
poor
Kino
kid,
right there. Oh, Spoit, meanwhile here, got some pressure thrown at him from the arcade window. See if he can make it out. Looks like he's good now. Herds is backed away, so no additional threat to him for the time being, but certainly gonna be cautious because of that one. Diaz running away. He does sneak off that default theft right before going down. JV92 will notice that, and we'll just pop it away.
Holy crap. Only a minute down. Only to 4 drones for M80. Do you think Bravo still has 1 more, so make it 5, but...
No Solus as well.
Yeah, no Solus either. I think it's just really a combination of the mute jammers is W7M really paying attention to what's going on with this early info game and trying to thwart it as much as possible, which is honestly the best thing that you can do. If you can make the offense forcibly face check things, 9 times out of 10, you are in a really good spot for the defense.
Herds with an opportunity here. Saw the barricade get open a second ago. Just waiting on that corner. Does not want to hard swing this. That'll more than likely be how he loses his life. So continues to wait this one out nice and patiently. He does have to play for the arcade balcony a little bit here too, as now we're going to see Kino start to swing up towards the top of it. Finds himself a little bit as he tries to go for that. Unfortunately, the Candela not going as far as he would have liked, and now getting the intel on that Mira playing it back. Good follow through this time to prevent a second death in a row. Coming in on Nitro cells there. Spoit also takes down KZ for the entry. They're quickly overwhelming the break room side as well as that arcade balcony. That's not going to leave a lot of room for W7M to play. Unfortunately, Nade, as you can see, trying his best to stay in the fight, but he can't do so with that very nice angle from Diaz just on the outside of Cafe. JV92 knows he's got someone on this Black Mirror, but still can't do anything about it. Has to back away once again into break room, and that'll lead him right into the waiting arms of Spoit. Fast response from M80 to lock us into a 1-1 scoreline.
A really good job of trying to mainly focus on things that they had control over. We saw a lot of play coming around that arcade balcony, the great influence there from Kino, and those flashes coming out. Forcing W7M's hand, they have to try and slow down this execute, and really they just walked into the waiting arms of M80. A lot of those crossfires working out for them, and finally able to get one over on W7M in a pretty convincing way. Our very first flawless round of this series.
Done so far for M80 here, quickly correcting on things, and more importantly, quickly taking away all of the map real estate there from W7M as well. They correct on some of the issues that we were seeing, not only on the last round, of course, but back over on some of the rounds for our first map on Villa as well, and swiftly prevent W7M up to their usual roaming shenanigans that we saw be quite successful on round number 1 there. It's going to be a full repick this time from M80. They just read to the wrong site initially, so that is going to cause all 5 players to change up their operators. Did have a glass shown initially, but that's gone now, and we've once more fallen back to a much more kind of traditional setup to attack this site. You've got the Flores to clear out the drones. Iconic, of course, still bringing the Ying to flash themselves into the site. Gomez will deal with any reinforcements or any utility problems that are going to be sitting behind the walls. This will be a pretty claustrophobic site when everything is said and done as well. And then, of course, you've got your usual assortment of soft breach and hard breach between Spoit and Kino.
Early beginnings of round 3. Info game once again for M80, as you'd expect from any team, anybody inside of Siege. If you're not droning first, then you're playing the wrong game, man. Just go back to COD, all right? Like, you can just quit now while you're ahead. Drone will be able to find Felipox. He's going to be forced back. Nice little reinforcement here. The reinforcements we got left. We actually have quite a few. They got 3 more in their pockets. So you can see they've definitely allowed things to kind of stay open around the map. Getting into where some of these angles are going to be hotly contested by the defense, as well as the clear. Rotero drones in, will at least be able to claim 1 castle barricade, looking for a little bit of extra utility, but that's going to also be our first minute gone. Nice discovery here from w7m's cams. They'll find 2 across the map, so they've recognized where the clear is coming from. Now what do they do about it?
Continuing to spam through here in hopes of lining up for an early pick. Nothing to be revealed, of course, here. He's more realistically just kind of opening up real estate for himself to play into later on here if he wants to swing onto Herd's position. Herd's in the meanwhile still maintains the extreme outside here. Now spotted Spot Cafe. Able to block off at least part of that breach that was just made in from office, but Iconic still chucking things out.
Oh no!
Oh no! He actually gets dropped here. Trades going out all over the place. Currently a slight edge to w7m, but
look
it's
at this
important
angle.
to note, yeah, Hurds is locked into a corner. Shoots too soon though. Didn't even know he was here initially. Diaz now takes him down for free. We did see it down onto Gomez in the process, and KZ actually gets the angle to kill him, but killing that player alerts Kino to it and allows him to trade. This rod's going crazy right now. So many little micro mistakes causing 1 or 2 extra players to go down here, bringing it ultimately into a 2 versus 2, where neither team really has a massive advantage over the other right now.
All right, Kino. We saw the clutch not exactly work out last time, but this is where we reclaim. M80 can take the lead here. This will be something that they desperately need. Strong players across the entire board here for both respective squads. Really want to see both turn up. Very minimal time remaining here. Remember, you can plant at 0 time in Siege, so not to worry too much, but you still have to dedicate yourself, which leaves 1 other player to try and deal with 2. And what?
Diaz just a hop over arcade balcony. Felipox was well peaked for that. So it's an easy pick for him. All of it's down to Kino now in the 1v2. When he has virtually no time remaining here, finds that first kill. But indeed, Felipox is an easy pop for him to trade that one back. w7m retakes control now at 2-1.
M80 had to go for the dedication, but that hop over from Diaz, most definitely ill-advised. They had no read on any of the w7m members, and he simply trusts Break. You know,
it's an uncharacteristic mistake for Diaz there too.
Yeah.
Diaz has been one of the smarter players, looking back at the Villa game, at least with regards to like how his positioning was being played out. So kind of surprised we saw him be the one to mess up a little bit there.
Yeah, I'm really surprised he went for that hop, just because there's so much influence from that hallway, as well as you potentially have to deal with a player and like split or something.
It was ultimately low time, so like,
yeah,
I guess
exactly.
It was just like, all right, guys, I'm gonna make a play and see what happens. And
Benefit of the doubt. At the end of the day, I mean, it is still info. That's what you always got to remember is like, yeah, he did die, but now Kino does know where that guy is, and Kino did have an opportunity. He killed 1 and hit the 180. He almost was able to secure that round for M80. So it is what it is at the end of the day. 1-2 in favor of w7m, as these defenses are going pretty swimmingly so far.
Good here for w7m to push forward. We did see M80 go for their tack timeout in between rounds right here. That time has expired now. We're already heading back into the game, but important to note, of course, they have used that. They will not have the opportunity to do so later on in the game. Let's see if that pause yields the results necessary and gets them back into this game for another time, potentially coming up here. They're going to have to go up against another site, which w7m already controlled earlier on. It's back to the throne room here for our defenders to try and lock in round 3.
Little change up here too. As you can see, they are very aware that M80 could go for something kind of in a similar vein to what we saw the first time that w7m defended this, maybe a rush strat or something like that. So they're trying to mitigate that as much as possible with the cap can, smokes, goyos, these kind of things to try and slow them down, keep track of where they are on the map. Even if they do get rid of some of that utility, they still obviously have to shoot it and do those kind of things. So, and you got Felipox try and cover up the tail end of things, as well as could potentially use those yokais around the map. We've been starting to see that more and more more throughout the history of Echo Play, just because they did remove that invisibility from his drones. What feels like millennia ago, but we still got to mention it because it was pretty crazy when you did have that. So people have just been getting more and more aggressive with those drones since that moment in time. KZ, free fire out. He was waiting, John. He had that on the timer. He was waiting for that 250 mark. Free fire outside, see if he can get something. Nice little cheeky setup here. I wonder if he's going to destroy the bottom of the window down low too. You can actually like pop off the like bottom paneling there, and then that sets you up for a hop in from that top floor too. So you don't actually have to run downstairs and punch it. Fun fact for you folks at home if you want to do something cheeky on this side of the building for theme park.
Fox just going for the quick peeks here, and no, Kino got the intel
Kino knows.
right there, but that's well another mid-round rotation, or mid-round reinforcement rather, gonna pop up here from KZ. And that'll stop any immediate danger for him here and allow him to rotate back over.
That is a terrifyingly long rotate there for the defense to try and utilize. Oh my god. Dude, if any M80 member gets in security, I'm sweating.
Well, it's not even just one, too. I mean, you got Felipox over by Arcade Stairs, and he's being boosted a little bit because Felipox also, or rather, I should correct this.
Oh my god!
Wow, Spoit just leaping in, KZ, none the wiser to it. So a free pick from Spoit. He's not going to mess around too much here. That's only the first player getting knocked out here, though. I'm not sure if they're aware of the second one. I think I corrected myself earlier. It was Herds playing onto that. Nade leaping out.
Nade
Meanwhile,
staying in
over
the
in
build. Oh my
maintenance,
god.
Iconic's going to catch that as they have already maintained some control on that part of the map. W7m getting a little too aggressive here now, and it's going to start to cost them.
My guy, just make Herds do it. Like, make anybody whose utility doesn't need you to run it, do it. That's crazy. Spoit's going to be able to pick up one more. M80 doing a fantastic job of recognizing that W7M inside of these low man situations look to try and garner ground, gather it back, get that man advantage, at least equalize for themselves to where they can somewhat have an opportunity in the dying moments. Hertz is going to reinforce trophy here, rather a throne room. We'll end up making sure that barrels won't have a rotate in it any longer. Kino actually coming here and try and assist with this. Brings up the crossfire. Minutes dwindling though. Does make you worry just a tad bit. M80 have a lot in the tank here in comparison to W7M, but things could go just wrong enough, especially with those yokai still in play, to muddy the waters for M80.
Both are still up. One was pretty far positioned away from the site. It was supporting that little stairs position from Herds earlier in the round. Felipox, that was going to have himself pushed into the fight first. Flash to his face. He responds with an impact. Isn't going to make the impact it needs to. Unfortunately not. Herds at least will be able to trade down his own teammates' deaths, but ultimately cannot escape. Iconic, who has been hunting him down for quite some time. He eliminates him, and that's finally a response round coming in from M80 to tie us up again here. 2-2. Very similar outcome so far here versus what we saw in map number 1 as well.
Yeah, that was probably one of the wonkiest defensive rounds we've seen out of W7M throughout this tournament. Things just not really hitting a stride for them inside of that one. It was constantly M80 able to pick up those big kills that were presented from W7M. Just not hitting their shots, man, and it happens sometimes, even to the best of us, as we can clearly see. So, round 5 right around the corners. M80 has tied things up with round 4.
Looking good to potentially give us that 3-3 scoreline, maybe even a 4-2 if they can push the envelope just a little bit further here. W7M is not going to go for a retry on Throne Room. They just move right along over into initiation for their next site hold here. Let's see what results that leads them with. Let's look at the refresh before we get ourselves into it. Opportunity not going to really give us too many surprises here. It's the appropriate setup on both teams' sides here to try and attack this site. Just a few repicks coming in from M80, namely to allow Gomez to get a bit sneaky as he's going to sneak in the Nook. And then aside from that, once again, the Ying will get brought in. Iconic's going to drop the hard breach. Kino takes that over instead and just switches over from secondary. And then, of course, Diaz now with the Brava to try and pop out some of the utility, which is going to be hidden deeper in the site and won't be easily accessible by nades or direct player utility. Herds again tries to go for the timing shot, but Spoit read it from a previous round and counters it. So Herds is the first to go down this time. Spoit has been on point these last few rounds as well. Pinpoint aim from him to knock out not just Herds here, but on the previous round did a great job making some effective kills on that arcade push.
A big win for M80 for round 5. Successful offense is starting to go the way of M80. Exactly what you want for this roster. Slapped together from around the world. Handful of Brazilians, an American, a Swede, a little bit of magic dust as well. This team has been working themselves forward. really coming together as a squad, and it's clearly working out. As although W7M does have that first map, they're still able to at least stand toe-to-toe with them in a lot of these different situations. M80, although right now, continue to break things down on this top floor. Some Rotero drones still left for Spoit. He'll pop the last one out. Here, let's see what he does with it.
Holy Fox. And the rest of W7M here.
That's on me, Pimp. I'm sorry.
We don't even know if it could bled through.
No, I definitely didn't bleed through. I
actually made it into my mic.
Yeah, accidentally burped. I hit my mic button, but I made John laugh, guys. That's on me.
Spoit finds a second pick there for M80 on this round. Brings it down to Nade, KZ, and Felipox here. W7M again, kind of overextending their hand a bit on this defensive side. Gomez trying to sneak back up towards the top here. He's taking out that Frost mat as well. Not going to be a whole lot that can stop him, although Nade finally ending the rampage of Spoit here. Not stopping there either. A second kill. Knows he's got a third nearby. No clear angle onto that player as they've escaped into the depths of the office, but Nade trying to change up his own positioning. Saw eyes onto one further player. Oh! He saw him deep in cash. Just had to find the lineup, and he gets it. Diaz, I don't even know what hit him there. Nade single-handedly restores the player advantage here, brings it down to a 2v2, and while he'll go down, KZ snuck out another one, so we're still at an even fight, brought down to a 1v1, and it's bad news for Gomez. The case is not down on the ground yet. He'll have to try and find an opportunity to sneak this, but he may just be forced into the fight outright. Never mind. Goes for a safe plant against a hard wall here. KZ should be able to hear it, but does he have the angle? Does he know where it's going down? Doesn't look like it right now. There's the spot, but doesn't shoot for it. Trying to guess wildly right now. There's the peek from Gomez, but not enough damage coming out from KZ. Again, a peek, and it takes, massive amount of damage off of Gomez right there, but still, KZ will be able to shut it down regardless and give another round over to W7M. Beautifully done to bring it back from a 2v4. You guys aren't even seeing this right now. You guys aren't even seeing this in game. He's bragging about it. He's over the corpse right now. KZ, he knows he won that one. He's popping off a little bit.
That's why his coach was like, if he was pointing at the screen, he was like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, go defuse the bomb. He's just over here eliminating people, dude. The Brazilian beasts, man. Wow. W7M really showing up to the name, especially their logo, man. The bull, because that's exactly what they're looking like right now.
Obviously, props to KZ for getting the outright 1v1 clutch, but the gold star on that round goes to Nade for the massive pickups he found on that rotate out of initiation. We'll probably see it again here on the replays. Just shot after shot after shot, continuing to shut down everyone on M80, trying to move in and trying to take control of that interior sight position here. We'll see it once again. Beautiful stuff from Nade here, especially that pick he got onto Cash against Diaz. There's the first one he found, and he got plenty more than that deeper into it, too. They attempt to pinch him out, doesn't work, and then he finds this beautiful two-tap headshot onto Diaz deep in cash here.
Truly one of the wildest rounds we've had in between these two.
This is a pretty wild series already, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's action-packed, man. I'm loving every single moment of it. They are making things so very interesting. And just, I mean, I just cannot get over W7M's play, man. No matter what the man count is, it always seems like they have a chance. And there's very seldom, a handful of players, especially all on the same team, that you can say that about. We have a lot of players who are like, oh, this player has a clutch gene, this player, that player. All of W7M, if they're alive, there is a chance that they take that round. It's just so very scary when you are playing against a team that is so dynamic, so very strong, so very confident, John. They're not worried about what M80 are potentially going to do in a 2v5. They're worried about what they're doing in the 2v5. And they're winning. That's what they're doing.
Still the case. Beautifully done here from the W7M to keep bringing themselves back from the brink time after time again there. Still allow for the comeback to happen. Like Sir said, a 2v5 situation. M80 certainly not going to be happy about losing that scenario, but at the same time, they got to focus up and move forward here. Try to still lock in that 3-3 halftime scoreline as the real danger lurks in the second half that the analysis desk was talking about. W7M's attacks are second to none right now when they are allowed to set up and execute along their normal game plan here. And M80 has not had a good track record of getting in the way of that one. So we need to try and find at least one more round here to have good hopes of still being able to close down on map number 2 and send us to that third map on Chalet.
Let this one breathe. Gomez won't, though. quickly dispatch Felipox, and man,
Gomez just fragging right now.
yeah, had to do some soul search, and he was like, I forgot I'm him. Okay, cool. Take out two.
2 players down, and they're 2 of the bigger ones here as well. Definitely more of the out-and-about players. We still have a few danger elements lurking, specifically on the second floor. Herds being one of them.
No way!
Spoit! You just opened that! What are we doing here? All right, the trade comes in at least from Iconic as he quickly takes that arcade control, but still, shouldn't have gotten away with that second one here. Gomez nicely sprayed, some follow through from him, but he also gets some battle back there. Does a bit of damage to JV92 and Nade, but at the same time loses a good 2/3 of his own personal HP. The kit is also down, I believe, pretty far away from most of M80 here, so this could be a bit of a problem, but okay. Iconic again saving the day, but it's time for Nade to shine once more. He's got that SMG once again here. Already 1 pick found from it, 2 more to go, and Gomez is really worse for wear right now as well. Gomez did have to wrap all the way back around. Like I mentioned before, the case was in a bit of an awkward spot, so we had to pick it back up. 37 seconds, so plenty of time. They should be able to pinch this out and knock him down pretty easily, assuming they have drone intel on him, which they're certainly going to have in a moment here. Gomez sneaking it in. Certainly should have seen the final position of Nade, or what is going to be more than likely the final position, and yeah, there we go. Nade's just stuck between a rock and a hard place there. It was going to be one of the two to try and challenge him. Just picked the wrong position, unfortunately. So, that'll be M80 regaining the tie, locking us in at 3-3 now with the team switching sides.
3-3 defensive half for W7M, but now they get on their favored side, even on a defender-heavy map. See how W7M choose to work this one. M80 are going to be going to lab storage for their initial site. Very strong round there from M80 to cap off their offensive side. And what a lead off here from Gomez as he's able to land some very nice shots with the commando.
Herds getting away with this double kill as well. Spoit thinking that maybe the swing was going to come in. Probably just didn't have the intel that there was already a Kiba barricade blocking the door, I think is what the thought pattern was right there. And that's why he tried to look further into the actual site, but obviously...
Yeah, he had to have not known that that Kiba was there, because that Kiba's not going to allow him to rotate through that.
That's the only real reason I could see for him just kind of looking deeper into the site. In fact, he didn't have it on that Kiba, but either way, unfortunate, as I think that wall had literally just been opened, and it unfortunately opened up a pathway for one of his opponents to kill him instead.
Yeah, the Selma was only halfway through its process that he died, man. That was something incredible. So... But now, W7M with a full lineup switch is usually this is not the first site that you see a team go to. So W7M have to grab some other tools out of the kit before they show up to the job site.
M80 here. Just really going for Throne, which is going to be an interesting choice for them. Does allow for this roam game, obviously, to have a bit more freedom, since you just rely a bit more on the fallbacks to play into on the late round there, but still to cause some problems. We had already seen W7M excelling and locking out these more mobile members of M80 on Villa. And this map, at least in my opinion, plays very similarly to Villa, at least inside of the early and mid round. So it could just be more of the same here with W7M looking to dominate if they're able to carry through that same performance from map number 1. Herds, of course, look to try and steal away all these nice little utility pieces. Spoit, meanwhile, being hunted as he tries to retreat into the depths of the office. He'll make it, but unfortunately 1/3 HP down as that's a player. Oh no, Gomez in the meantime here leaping out from the top side of control. He takes down Felipox outright, eliminating the Ash, getting the first kill of the round and half.
Nothing like the taste of your own medicine. M80 deliver on that front. Spoit does get tagged up from that cheeky cross. Something does get held a decent bit, but definitely one that you're always annoyed with when somebody's on that window for the bathroom. Kino be able to get this nitro cell off of the roof. Some well-placed shell. The nitro cell just waiting as Gomez knows he just has to feed that info back over to his teammate. This sledge is dead to rights.
Too late.
And
now, and they blew the thing early too.
Gomez. Why are we doing this? That was so much utility that he just blew sky high for truly nothing and potentially him being dead. Very close, very close. Gomez is just, he can't get it going for himself right now, at least in this situation. He's been able to find a decent amount of kills, but Hertz, I think he just drone-holed him there too. Incredible. Iconic with some nice shots, but oh, he tries to just hold the pattern, John, down near the bottom. But W7M, these offenses, like we've been talking about, man, they are all over a defensive team when they're the ones that get to control the pace. And Diaz, they even know where he is. He's getting shots set out of him in barrels,
hey, look,
and he's dead as hell. W7M.
It's just like a Venus flytrap. Once you're inside of it, there's no getting out of it, you know? Beautiful stuff once again from W7M, especially once again there for KZ as well. That beautiful swing, I think it was actually Herds, to correct myself there real quick. That beautiful fight he had versus Iconic, where he just kind of ducks away from the spray he goes for, just movements himself out of his own death, and then is able to win that fight on that very aggressive peak on the bathroom 90 just outside of the site. It's going to give W7M the lead, and a dangerous one at that, given what happened back on Villa 2. Started out somewhat promising for M80 with that hop out there, giving them the opening advantage, but just could not carry it forward. Herds continue to dominate here, continue to cause problems deeper and deeper into the round here.
Such strong mechanics from Hertz there in that gunfight. And Iconic didn't even do a bad job. He did what you're technically supposed to do, which is as soon as you hear that first step, just send the shots and hope that pre-fire takes him out, especially with the MP7. The rate of fire is so unbelievably high. Just W7M once again showcasing why they are one of the best teams in the entire world, man. They are not only mechanically gifted, but this strategical depth is unprecedented.
Look dire here for M80. Turnaround needs to be shown. Thankfully, just round one being played out there. And I'll bring back what I said at the beginning of that last round. They do go to what is normally a bit of an offsite for a lot of teams to start things out there. They're not going to fall back on the general benefits of throwing them just yet. They'll continue to play things out, and now they go for bunks instead. So similar in the fact that they can still play this usual upstairs extension in those same two rooms, but now they don't have the fallback, so they have to be very, very careful here not to give up any of that extended outside site positioning, such as arcade, such as, of course, the cafe directly next to it as well. That's going to very quickly set W7M up for another knockout execute like we saw at the tail end of round 7 there just now. Speaking of which, M80, they've got a very aggressive plan to stop W7M from getting control here, it looks like. He nearly get a very early door swing from Spoit over by Cafe, but he realizes that probably isn't the best idea. I think that's a smart choice as he backs away, just waits things out a bit longer here.
That's not one of the players that you want to try and...
Jamie 92 is on jump out watch right now, I think. Look at what he's standing on, too.
Assassin's Creed perch right here.
Like, yeah, there's like a little tiny perch.
I'm waiting for the bird to fly around him, and he hops off into the hay.
Selma's going in now as they try to pop this wall open. However, Diaz going to be here for the leap pops. In the meanwhile, just leaping right in. They thought it was clear as day. Obviously not, as Diaz once again gets away with the opening kill here for M80. And once more, M80 start the round off with the 5v4 advantage.
That was definitely something from Felipox. That was, wow. Well, Herds will at least be able to pick up Gomez. I know some people around this area after the earlier circumstances. Obviously, it is the site, so they better be home. Herds is flirting. Oh my god, did he actually get two there? I thought he did there for a split second. Oh my. Nade's going to be on quite low HP. I do believe that was across the map there. And it's actually going to be the Capital working his way up the stairwell. Kino trying to hold on to Arcade for now. Drone will get destroyed. The minute remaining. It's 3 versus 3. W7M with an opportunity, but Kino on a triple kill, making up for some earlier disadvantages. JV92, Lone Soul, try and win this out, but M80, their very first defensive round, keeping it neck and neck here on theme.
Kino and Diaz shutting it down there as the dynamic duo works it out. Some strong words coming in from the coach.
He was excited. He was like, "You're doing great. You keep killing."
Calm down, man. He's yelling at him.
Nah, dude. Bibu's got nothing but energy. every single round that you ever see Bibu win, especially against a Brazilian team, he's gonna let them know. they're definitely aware that they lost that round for sure. That was just such a goober moment, man. It was just so funny. But I respect the idea. You saw what he was going for. Toss the Selma, it masked the sound of you swinging through the window, but he didn't do the preventative maintenance of simply checking out what was going on in there before he tried to go for such an aggressive play. But things happen, man. So W7M will almost allow things to get tied up, at least with that initial strategy. It was really just M80 able to find those big frags, especially over towards the arcade balcony, where W7M not able to collapse on M80 in any convincing way.
M80 putting up a bit of a stronger stance so far here on their defensive side. The Park are going to carry it forward and try to push us to that third and final map on Chalet. Still a little ways to go here, but like I said, they're keeping up. W7M's hands to try and change up their own fate. It'll be a very similar hold from M80, just one room over, obviously, as we go over towards initiation instead of the dorms this time around, now that M80 have locked that one down. Execute heavy setup coming in here from W7M. They don't want to have to commit anyone to flank watch if at all necessary, so they do bring the Nomad to establish that flank watch for them. The Ying to execute, of course, alongside Nade to try and take out some of the utility pieces so that they can breach in with smokes as well if necessary. And then you got the Lion to overwatch things if the members of M80 try to get a little too mobile in the midst of this round.
I loved what we just saw from M80 setup there. Did you see the My Desk eat up the Selma? Very strong positioning there for that utility to try and make it where they can at least dislodge a couple pieces of hard breach there. And Herds is indeed going to be the only hard breach, so only one more Selma to try and get rid of one of these hard panels, or potentially one of these mirrors out of Iconic, but there's impacts abound for M80, so more than likely a problem that they can solve. JB92 trying to work these angles. Could be a nice little pre-fire angle here for our player inside, but you don't want to see DS overcommit here. We've seen a lot of these seemingly advantages go by the wayside and end up going the way of the other squad instead. KZ with a nice kill, the Lion working out, and actually that Kiba barrier not working its way through in any convincing way. KZ will though, Nade with a nice frag, those ones transitioning through. It'll be a nice find into a 3 versus 2. Smoke out, Candela as well. They're looking for this execute, but Gomez is looking for the kills. It's gonna be Kino up next. He'll be able to take down one. Really have to worry about the Warden with those goggles there as Felipox will begin working his way around. Air jabs and smokes all around, and it's gonna be Gomez that uses that smoke to its absolute advantage. It's gonna be M80 to win out the round and take the lead here on Theme Park.
M80 are holding on, not giving up that potential championship position against BDS just yet here. They want to push it forward. They want the opportunity to lift that trophy there in the middle of the stage just as much. W7M wants it here as well. He will keep themselves in this, and that'll prompt a timeout. First time here for W7M as they need to take a step back and figure out what's going wrong, especially inside of these early round situations here. They're just not finding the same level of control that they were able to do earlier on, both in Villa and, of course, like the first round of this half, too. So you'll see why that is and find some better ways to isolate out these more aggressively leaned members of M80 that are constantly causing them to trip up here in the early round.
All right, well, with minimal time left, let's get a good scoreboard look here. And man, is it pretty darn even, right? And this is what we want, man. This is what we were talking about coming into this. M80 is a team that is still in, I would say, the preparation phase for this squad, right? It's not that they aren't, you know, obviously able to work together and do all these things. It's that there is still a ceiling for them to hit. There's still a lot of potential left in this squad as they continue to work on things. And you can see just how solid of a team this is. They're going up against W7M right now, one of the best teams in the entire world.
Major champions.
And they are doing fantastic, John.
In the case, W7M, certainly some change-ups coming in. It looks like we're actually going to get the gridlock for Herds here. Herds actually fallen off a little bit as well. Still at the top of the scoreboard for his team overall, but he's gone down to an even scoreline at this point. So overall effectiveness, not seeing the same amount out of him. So we'll see now if put into more of a flank watch role here on that gridlock and being able to stabilize the site a bit better helps out his team, especially on the execute too. Never mind though, he'll end up switching back to his original choice and they feel they actually don't need that here. Yana comes back for him instead. Back to the usual shenanigans to see if he can make that initial impact this time around, especially on site entry for M80. No surprises there either. They still got the Goyo here to delay on the inside of Lab. Those frost bats to try and trip up some of the other members of the team. No real surprises outside of that.
How does this round go this time around, though? W7M able to quickly get through Lab. Maybe not really able to do too much about it either. A lot going in the way of W7M initially. So let's see how round 10 will go for them. And looking like more of the same. A very nice find there from Felipox just to start off.
It's a nice easy access route there, like you said, for Felipox. They didn't really have to risk the drone to take those down. So that's already 2 out of 4 of those canisters gone. Maybe like one more hiding in the room, and then they'll be clear to execute past that point. Obviously, we'll still need positioning and to clear out all these extended partitions that you're seeing, especially Fenrir, currently being played by Iconic, but as well a few other members currently maintaining over the course of this map. W7M very, very slow to take their initial clear here. So you can tell once again, starting to give that a little bit of extra respect over to M80, as they do not want to trip up in the same way that has been done over the past 2 to 3 rounds here now. Burns with a slow clear. Takes control of Cafe. Surprising we don't have any resistance at all here from M80, given the fact that there is a Kiba there, but they're preoccupied, it seems, with stuff going on inside of dorms and initiation.
No way.
Opportunity
No way.
here as Hurd just sneaks right in. Downs a player, but does not get the finisher off. Unfortunately, Gomez takes him out instead. Nade and Spoit are currently also down on the ground, and another member of W7M has been fallen also. KZ at least gets control of the yellow stairs to finish off player that had been initially downed on M80, that's Spoit being eliminated. Now JV92 also finds Gomez. Hold on here. So we can still see W7M turn this back around.
Somebody's got to go get Buck right now, John. Nate is down. He's also got Case, and Iconic's killed him. That's where Case is. Someone might be aware of this one. Oh, Iconic! My God, man. On to KZ. Like, absolutely nothing. Incredible. 3 up for M80. Iconic putting 2 down, and it's up to JV92 to try and get this one done in round 10. But M80 looking like they might have it, John. Looking like Theme Park might actually be theirs. Might not have been a mistake making this choice, taking W7M to a map that they haven't been defeated on yet. You heard me say before this game, if you aim for the king, you better not miss. And M80 are like a sniper right now.
It's now M80 shutting things down in this second half. A massive surprise based on what we saw on map number 1. For sure, thought W7M would be able to carry that same momentum forward, but the extra strength M80 have found here on Theme Park, second to none now, as they take the 2-round edge over their opponents. Now only need one final lock-in. Push us to that third map on Chalet. Gomez is a little bit too slow to respond to this peak over here. Otherwise, we could have kept the full breadth of that top yellow hold alive here, and things would have been even more dominant for M80. As you saw there, once again, M80 just too quick on these trades, constantly getting the better of members of W7M. JV92 really the only solo lurker there that got away with anything.
What a
and
shot.
That beautiful shot from Iconic as well. Just slaps him right in the face, leaving JV92 with not really much of a choice but to force the issue onto the site. There'll be a throne room hold for M80 coming up here, and what could very well be the last round of this map. Full repicks as well for W7M, as you can see on the right side there.
Yeah, Dave had to go find LeBronic real quick and throw the dagger at him. Fantastic stuff from M80. Showing us exactly how that lab setup's supposed to go for them. I get another showcasing of one of their defenses here, so we're back to the tried and true on Throne. W7M with the full line switch. Trying something fresh here. The Osa, Gridlock. We haven't seen her throughout this entire game so far. Sledge and Nomad as well. Nomad trying to slow down some of these hop outs from M80, but very similar circumstances to what we saw on Cafe. If you guys watch the analyst desk for that, Fresh kind of touched on the fact of, yeah, Nomad is a good op for the map, but when you have what is practically like 80 hop outs across the entirety of a map, you only have 3 air jabs. So there's still some ways that they can circumnavigate those and provide punishment inside of this map. So we'll see what M80 are potential, what their potential is at least, in what could be our last round here. Okay. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Spoit.
I totally didn't think Spoit was going to die there. No, no, no.
Still in the area, too, so not on the hot seat just yet. In fact, pushed himself even deeper into it from the looks of things. Knows where that one player is. Knows he's relatively safe as well as he spots nothing else.
Do it.
Oh, this could be
Do it.
a big timing play right here. He's going to hop out, sees the damage. Damn! Oh, my goodness. A trade from KZ at the top end, but the damage is already done. Beautifully done by Spoit as he gets a free 2-pick against Herds and JV92 as they're both caught on camera.
These kids and their phones. W7M even having a player on top of the roof as well, and y'all got 2 people on cameras and nobody's watching when Solus is on the board. I mean, you deserve that one. I'll be real. Like, you really did deserve that. So W7M obviously not going to be in the best trades because of that, but still an opportunity. We never count this team out of anything, as we've noticed.
At least it wasn't their hard breach. That's like the one good piece of news out of this, is that at least Philippe Box stayed alive from that one. However, a huge part of the execute utility is now gone. They don't have the track stingers to pepper up this site and make M80 unable to go for like those crazy swings we just saw Spoit do outside of the window, for instance. They're still free to do that now because they're no longer going to have access to the track stingers. They won't also have the Nomad air jabs to block out peeks from the doorways as well. Rough here for W7M, even if they get this opening done, which thankfully they just did. They don't really have a clean way to work themselves in. They're relying entirely on fragging, basically, to get the job done, and whatever they can set up on those OSA shields, too. That is the other big piece here, which thankfully is still in the lineup.
So have some options. But honestly, they're not looking for the plant right now. They are looking to try and get some kills, try and force people's hands. Impact, that's really, really going to assist him here, but they're going to lose a body because of it. Nade dealing a lot of damage to Kino, and now things have reached a problematic point, John. They've been able to force him back in the split. They're back into Armory. Nade has a chance here. One Impact, one Nitro Cell, and somebody's got to do something. He's halfway through. This will be a free kill for Kino as he preemptively sends the shot. Kino can't find him. He'll down KZ, but where's Felipox at? There he is. We always know he's good for at least one. He finds another. Iconic is prone right now inside of split. He's got to make his move. Does he know the plan is going down? He waits for 0-0. Iconic, one of the best North America has ever had to offer, and he shows why yet again. M80, Iconic. He said trust the process, John. Trust map 2. And well, map 2 got him on to map 3. What an incredible game from them. And they're fired up. They're ready. And so are we, man. An incredible series so far in between these two. 7 and 4. Spoit, Gomez, Iconic, Kino, all firing off on that map. 3 of those actually having double-digit kills.
Yep, some beautiful stuff. Truly a team effort from M80, and we're going to see if that massive confidence boost they get on that win is enough for them to win this series and push on into the grand final. Stick with us, folks. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, it's map 3 between these two excellent teams.
We can change it all. We can change it all.
I know exactly what you are. What have they sold you? On that blacktop boulevard. Ooh, I'm doing damage control on my heart and my soul. Oh no, I don't need your help. Said I'm good on my own. Ooh, I'm doing damage control on my heart and my soul. Oh no, I don't need your help. Said I'm good on my own. Let me be free. Let me be free. Let me be free. Let me be free. What if I told you? I know exactly what you are. What have they sold you? On that red hot boulevard. Ooh, I'm doing damage control on my heart and my soul. Oh no, I don't need your help. Said I'm good on my own. Ooh, I'm doing damage control on my heart and my soul. Oh no, I don't need your help. Said I'm good on my own.
Break me down and make me weak again. After all, I called you my best friend. And up in here, I know the story ends with broken hearts and us playing pretend. Break me down, down. Break me down. Break me down, down. Break me down.
Welcome back to day 3 of Gamers8 featuring Siege, where M80 keep the NA dream alive. They win their own map pick, Chalet, up against w7m in the semifinal. And we're here on the SCC play desk to analyze what happened with Jesse and Demo. We're We're going to start off with this is a much stronger performance from the side of M80 than we actually saw them do on Villa.
Certainly. I think they're very happy to be able to bounce back, right? Be able to take the map pick of Theme Park. I think it was looking a little bit shaky, you know, to start. We saw some messy rounds, I think, on both sides from both teams. But eventually getting those 3 attacking rounds from M80 proved to be so massive. It's a very defender-sided map. You left the zombie up. There's a lot for the defense to play with. But then when they got to that defensive half, a complete brick wall. There was nothing that W7M could do that would break through.
W7M, just stylistically, they can't really pull anything together. You cannot play fast. You can't really full send with the Ying strategies that you want to do. M80, they attempted it, you know, iconic again on that blitz. Trust me, it doesn't work. It's a map that you have to play linear. I feel Theme Park and Clubhouse are maps where you don't have a lot of options. You're kind of structured into this certain play style, and it's just one that I feel doesn't fit the W7M way, as to say. And, you know, for M80, it was, again, like you mentioned before, a little bit shaky in the beginning, but as soon as they got that defense, and you get the likes of Izami more than anything, Jesse, to see Izami free in Theme Park is such a surprise because she's so strong.
Yeah, twice in a row now we've seen the Izami go through on back-to-back maps, and it's proven to be very, very effective. You know, I felt like a lot of the attacks that came forward from W7M, especially towards the end, got kind of chaotic. We saw it on the replay there, kind of a swinging from Felipox into the break room, right into a frost mat. Then this play from Spoit as well.
Person you think's mid, by the way?
Both, didn't say that. Both players on their phones, you know, it's tough to be able to see some of this going on from W7M. There was another player jumping into a frost mat as well, round 10. We had Nade hopping into 1-2, so a lot of frost mat kills, a lot of lack of awareness, and I think a lot of that's coming from the fact that M80 weren't afraid to challenge W7M early on, right? I mean, we saw them going forward and making sure that there were a lot of aggressive, messy fights happening in the early round, and that meant that in the late round, their anchor players of, you know, we saw Diaz having a good time, Kino having a good time, being able to close things down, finish out the round. I think the impact's coming through towards the end of it from Kino, perfectly finishing off. After the great play from Spoit happened early in that round to cause the chaos and make that end round possible.
Yeah.
Shut down the show. He said a great play by Spoit. He's never said that.
Clip it, ship it,
so
make
many
sure that
desks.
you hold on to it. No, but also when we're looking at M80, maybe we said not the strongest of start, but they still managed to get 3 rounds on the attack.
It's Theme Park, and it is supposed to be a more defender-sided map because, again, the attackers have these limitations on them where they have to play this certain way. Looking at the defenders that are open, of course, you're forced into that. I will say for M80, the big thing is all of them were on top of their game gunning, which I think helps a lot more compared to what it was the last map where W7M, all of those guys were gunning.
Sure.
End of the day, no matter what, we can sit here and talk about stats and strategies and all this.
Yep.
It's all about the kills. It's still a shooter at the end of the day. You need to get your kills.
Yeah, and something that we said earlier as well before we even got into this game was we were looking at how M80 was feeling coming into this, considering the fact that round 8 on first map on Villa was just a little bit of an oopsie, to say the least. So to see how they're feeling going into the final map of this best of 3, we also have a check-in ready with Ian, so let's head over.
To that semi-final, we're now going to a third and final map. And I was behind the scenes when M80 came off stage, and their entire hashtag, the catchphrase is "the fuse is lit." I'm telling you, they exploded back off the stage, and they kept shouting energy, energy, energy. It's all about energy. They are fired up. And look, I'm not a betting man, but those guys going into this next map are going to be on fire. W7M are, of course, well equipped to handle this kind of firepower, but man, these guys are in the zone and ready to go. I'm going to see if I can get a quick word. Do I dare? Do I dare see if I can get a quick word? Do you know what? I'm not going to interrupt them. This is too important. I'm going to go back to you on the desk, guys, but I'm telling you right now, these guys are cooking.
Right. Ian saying he's not much of a betting man, but if he did have to put a bet down, it would be on M80. To be fair, he was also a little biased earlier during lunch, before the game even started. But how are we feeling, Mr. NA representative, who has reclaimed M80 after he said that they were actually a Brazilian team?
No, I mean, all NA. Listen, I mean, I think Ian's totally correct. They've got that NA fire behind them now. They're getting excited. They've got that energy. And I think a big part of that is the guy standing behind them. Bodega coming back after over a year of not being behind that team. Now how he's able to hype them up. He's that type of coach who's always going to focus on the energy, focus on the vibes of the team. He's not going to go in and necessarily tell you, you know, run this strat, this strat, this strat here, right? He is there to hype the boys up, to get them fired in, to get them ready to go back into that match and make the comeback happen, even when they go down that first map, even when the vibes go against them. So I think that fire that Ian was talking about is super important, and I do think the coach is a massive reason why they have all that behind them.
Yeah, I had the privilege of being able to actually see Bodega in action, I think for the first time I've really seen him, back at SI21. And he put me in Ollie off casting, because we couldn't hear anything. That's the issue that he was causing for us, and yeah, that's obviously going to play into it. Bodega is obviously known by the Brazilian community. He's obviously going to know Felipox, used to coach him back in the day in MIBR. So there is a little bit of history there, and you know, I think every Brazilian, they all want to beat M80 because they are Brazilian, but they're not in Brazil.
Yeah.
No, they're.
It's like the Brazilians. They also want to all beat Alamau as well. Anyone who's not in Brazil, they want to beat them more. That's how that works.
W7M though, they are going to be looking to defend that title, so it is a bit of a wish team wants it more. I mean, Ian saying it himself, when we're looking at M80, they're very much fired up and they're ready to go. But W7M, it's not just the fact that they have to prove themselves this time around. They already lost to BDS, so it's that revenge arc. Being able to go back into the playoffs, being able into the finals, and giving BDS a run for their money, because they are the only team so far that have shown that at the end of the day, W7M are human, they are beatable. Can M80 replicate that? W7M, if it's up to them, it won't happen.
Certainly, and I think for W7M, they've got to keep in mind, and they will, that this is the best of three. They weren't expecting to win their opponent's map pick, right? You go into a best of three thinking we're going to win our pick and the decider, and the decider's coming up, and it's a great one for them. Chalet, obviously a map that W7M love. They've got a 4-game win streak on that map, undefeated since the start of SI. They dropped 1 round to SSG at Invite, 4 to Sonics, and then 3 to Liquid in Copenhagen, then dropped 4 rounds here at Gamers8 to BDS. Even the matches they play aren't exceptionally close when they win these matches. So I think W7M are going to be feeling very, very good. Obviously, it's strong for M80 as well. 4-1 record on the season. They're very happy here too. So it's going to be a great game coming forward. And I'm glad Ian's not a betting man, because I wouldn't want to be a betting person either. This game is too hard to call.
No, it's a very difficult one, but I'm still going to have to put you in that position, Demo, in terms of Chalet, W7M, M80, what are the odds looking like when we're talking about a historical point of view?
W7M on Chalet is that's their playground. That is where the opportunity spotting aspect of this team, where they will see a weakness and they'll exploit you. They see you have a broken leg, they'll go and kick it in more. That's the kind of team we're dealing with. They are ruthless whenever it comes to that. All they take just a sniff where they have a chance, they'll be in. You give them a centimeter and they will take a mile. That's how this team operates. M80 equally, I think, are also very, very good whenever it comes to Chalet as well. I think they can be very creative. This is where I think Spoit equally can opportunity spot as well. And he can be able to say, guys, play around me, I have an idea. I think both teams are going to be very evenly matched. So ultimately, it's just who's going to get the kills. That's what it's always going to be about.
Yeah.
So far, W7M as well as M80 have been getting the kills, but who's been getting the most round conversion off of those?
In terms of converting the rounds, I think you honestly give it to M80, because a lot of the times in that theme park, because you think back to it, right?
We've seen a 2v5 clutch from W7M, which is very worrying for M80.
There's been messiness on both sides, right? But there were a lot of those theme park rounds where it felt like W7M would get in to get that opening pick. I remember Herds walking in through Cafe, gets a first frag, it's totally free, nobody's watching it, and then still it doesn't matter because there's trades coming back from M80. People are winning fights on other parts of the map. So I think it's very difficult to convert in general in this map, you know, or in this series, because you've got so many players on both squads who are willing to get in on the defense, get aggressive, find more frags, continue to challenge you. And so it makes the opening pick almost less relevant than in your traditional matchup, just because the early parts of the round can be so explosive.
All right. I feel like that might have been a pretty good rundown in terms of what we can be expecting. Still think the fact that we have to put into consideration that if you qualify here, you're going to be going to the semifinals, which is a guaranteed $400,000 prize pool. Otherwise, I mean, realistically, it's a $175 game.
Yeah.
$1,000.
It's absurd.
$1,000, sorry. $175,000, yes.
$175, yes.
Woo!
That's like what I'm making the whole event. That'd be great to win that.
Okay.
Wait, what do you guys? Oh.
You gonna peg?
No, I mean, obviously
that's the price of the richest man in Canada, isn't it? He's $175. That's what it takes over there.
Yeah, the richest man in Northern Ireland's getting, what, 3 potatoes?
All right, this
you don't
is
want to go there.
Not geography. We have 20 seconds on the line, so I want to get a quick prediction. I'm gonna have to do it. W7M M80.
I love M80, but it's got to be W7M for me.
You know I don't give predictions.
All right, Dan doesn't want to give
Scared.
predictions, so I'm gonna give one instead. W7M coming through from the desk, looking to see if they can go into those finals and give BDS a taste of defeat. Let's head into the final map of the semifinals with Blue and Sam.
Thank you very much, and ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the final map of the series. Let's see who will move on to challenge BDS in the grand finals. Will W7M get their chance for revenge, or does M80 deny it outright? For that booming comeback they found on map number 2 for Theme Park. Now they've got a chance to shut it down on Chalet. Let's see if they'll be able to get the job done. Bans are coming up now, the first one being Brava, who we've seen used quite a bit on the last 2 maps, and she can be extra effective here. We'll knock her out.
First map went the way that we thought it was, but the second one was the Rumble. Now we're waiting for the sonic boom here.
Right.
Either one of these teams, John, can do so very much here on Chalet. We've got a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about. We'll wait for these bans to roll through. These are fairly straightforward. But the key thing here is that we're walking into Chalet to decide that both of these teams decided to boil down to W7M have the offensive side, and that's the big thing that we need to talk about. W7M's offensive sides have been dastardly throughout this tournament, as we've discussed. But caveat to that, what happened on Theme Park? Theme Park was a very big game changer for M80. They had such a solid strategy on their defensive end, and it worked so very well for them. The key factor here is that Chalet operates on a completely different level of play when it comes to the way that the defense has to deal with the offense. There's a lot more angle work. There's a lot more volatility coming from the offensive side. It makes it very difficult for the defense to try and hold on to a lot of these key areas around the map, and that's what we're going to look into. How does M80 try and mitigate this damage? Try and make sure that this ship does not sink. It might be able to take some shots, John, but they just got to make sure that they stay afloat.
Bit of an odd final ban there from M80 as they knock out Doc of all things, but I believe that is a little bit targeted towards W7M, because I can recall a few times in the past when W7M specifically have brought this operator out on this specific map, so that's more than likely why it is still... I'm going to wait and see on that one, basically, because it's definitely a little bit in odd territory for me. But everything else making perfect sense. More importantly, the 2 attacker bans are going to force changes on both teams' attacker lineups, because they were both fairly heavily reliant on both Ying as well as the Brava in the previous 2 maps.
Now, the key thing here is with the Brava and Ying getting removed, that means Dokubi's back in play.
Yeah, true.
And she is so strong when it comes to clearing out maps. And as we were talking about, the offensive side has a great opportunity on Chalet to do exactly that. So JV92 or anybody on W7M is more than likely going to be occupying Dokubi for the majority of this. Man, I'm just so ready for this map, John. Those last 2 maps got me fired up. We're in on Chalet. Potential for M80 to take things away from W7M. Go on to play against BDS in a best of 5. The last time Iconic was able to get that far was all the way back at the Charlotte Major a while ago with the Strawless, where they ended up losing out against Dark Zero. Last time that Mr. Canadian was able to lift a trophy, and Iconic, no! He goes down to nade, sneaks through, just trying to deal with the drone game, but he doesn't think that somebody's already there. Fortunately enough, though, Kino hits a beautiful shot with the FMG9. Not something you see all too often on Smoke, but a heck of a gun, especially with that 1.5.
Swift job, though, from our attackers to be able to hunt down Iconic so quickly. He didn't even realize it was happening. He got crunched on so fast. Their big mistake is he walks directly out into the open with the scanner still present. Not even surprises Nate a little bit. It's his first shot. Doesn't even knock him down outright, but he is able to course correct quickly and make sure he locks that down without taking any damage himself. Beautiful trade, though, on to JV92. Has re-equalized the situation, so neither team at a massive advantage right now. Restored the balance. Now it's W7M trying to work for a bit more upstairs control. I think he fell.
I thought he fell.
Yeah, no, I saw that rope.
I saw it the last second. I was like, oh, thank God.
He's good.
Oh, man. Oh, nade?
Taking some heat here as he tries to play out from the inside of that breach once again. That's more resistance coming out, I believe, from either Gomez. Diaz playing out downstairs. The way, though, the damage being impacted. KZ does find the quick one on the Spoit to take him down, and hurts. Now finally able to eliminate Gomez, who I believe was the problem causer down on the first floor. Kino might actually be that player, just to correct myself one final time here. He's still maintaining presence on the inside of 90, and he'll try to lurk it through bar as well. He knows W7M went for a lot of control through the front door, and Herds might just be a free pick from this second doorway that Kino is going to pop out from. No, there's Overwatch instead. Herds actually switched his own POV to that. Beautiful play continuing on for the previous 2 maps there on Herds' POV. Now Diaz is left alone in the 1v4. There's been some great stuff from Diaz over these last 2 maps, but this is going to be asking for far too much. Even an air jab to add insult to injury here as he's forced into the back of Trophy. No rotation hole opened up to get him back into kitchen, and incendiaries are blocking his path through the double doorway connector. This is just not really a winnable situation for him, especially now that he's down about 5 or so HP. 1 bullet from pretty much anything is going to knock him down at this point. Nice. Follow through there to be able to take down Keys. 3 more to go, though. Only about 25 seconds to be able to actually get onto that counter defuse. So continue to push it through, and Felipox will finally shut things down as we do see W7M take the initial round control.
Not really no way he's getting out of that one with that HP, but can say this though, that was not exactly a terrible defensive round from M80. They did a pretty strong job, especially with the first 2 minutes, of trying to keep things at bay from W7M. You can see the entire team rolling through the strats page here, making sure that they're all on the same page. Beautiful shots here from Nate as he snuck in down low, and that suppressed shotgun just obliterating Iconic. Even with that first pump, if Iconic ended up staying alive, I mean, he only has like 5 HP. So w7m just really quickly able to deal with a lot of what M80 was throwing at them. Really just the big beneficial factor for them being the amount of time sink that it initially took. But I mean, just such a strong man count going in the favor of the offense that made it practically impossible. Looks like we're going to end up switching sites here too. Can't exactly blame them after what we saw on that kitchen setup. I really like the basement when it comes to this map. When Chalet initially got reworked, people were really not a fan of this. But ever since then, we started to see some teams start mitigating the damage and some of the angles that the offense can use. Definitely going to be looking into the play from DS Lucas here. See what he can get done with these Kiba barriers. As well as the blue hallway, some very pivotal positions to try and hold on to. And you can see this is a pretty open and honest strategy from M80. They want all the smoke, but does W7M provide?
W7M seems back into their more confident swings. As of that first round, we'll have to see if M80 can do something themselves to get a bit more respect out of these attackers here and try to slow them down a bit more. Well, for one thing here, with Herds having the Cali, that it's in itself will prompt a little bit more hesitation to come from the M80 side of things, knowing the fact that they might be staring down the barrel of a big sniper rifle, and they really can't contend with that depending on the range it's being taken from. Be careful about that one. And they know for certain that it is alive if they didn't already off of that first shot. Now they know. With the thumper going out. Nice. Diaz as well should be able to impact it, but nope, it's on the far left wall from Diaz's POV. So not going to be impactable in that situation. It'll still get popped open anyway.
I thought he had it there because it was very close.
Yeah.
It wasn't all the way over on the right-hand side for obviously Thermite's POV. But looks like it will eventually work out for them either way. Hex not really landing where they wanted it to. W7M processing this top floor. Not sure if they found Gomez just yet. Spoit is going to be over inside of the master bath. Holding on to the space for the time being. Trying to make sure that they're really going to go too awry, but as soon as I say that, Gomez gets gunned down inside of Office. No damage dealt to the offense at all either. KZ on Finka, who we haven't seen this entire tournament. But those adrenal surges, we know how potent those can be. Pick up your teammates, heal your teammates. So very, very strong at the end of the day. Especially with that pickup onto Gomez, these drones are going to be able to get a lot more heavy lifting done inside of the dying moments of this round.
Hesitating moment for both teams right now here. We're going to see nice angle being given towards Nade there. Diaz unfortunately still got away with one though, as Felipox was the first to fall in that fight. But Nade quick to trade it right back in the hands of W7M. They're making sure that they stay ahead of the curve. JV92, as Stokes just noted to here. They've got the intel on this player on the corner. I believe it's Spoit wrapped around it right now. Tries to maintain the upstairs position. More importantly, tries to delay the rest of this execute. As long as JV92 holds this. Oh no, the cross. He's gone out, but he's not confident about it. He backs right back up there. Either player's going to end up beating each other. Now that's enough room for w7m to try and go for the actual take. Iconic in a tough position to breach right here, though. Kino getting away with one, but no, Iconic over swings, and Spoit also dealt with on the upstairs room, but Kino knocks off another head as Hertz tries to rejoin the fight back down through the main stairs. He's going to be able to establish this flank. Nitro goes forward. That should kill the planter and nearly takes down Keys as well. Kino shuts it all down as Keys fails to trade it out in the 1v1. And with that M80 battle back, just as we've been seeing on these last two maps, they're right back into it again for another 1-1 tie game.
Set up the pins and the kid will knock him down. He keeps the nitro cell in the back pocket. The ace up the sleeve right there, John. M80 get their defensive round, and it's not going to be that easy here on Chalet for w7m. The initial portions of that round looking like they might just go quietly into the night on round 2 for M80's sake. But Kino, nah, man, it's time. Let's see, M80. Can we get it done? A heck of a series so far in between these two. Let's roll highlight reels here from round 2. I love this angle from Diaz especially. What a find here onto the stairwell player, but not able to sneak away before Nade with the refrag.
Once again, w7m tripping up here early on inside of the map. So we'll have to look for a way to quickly course correct upon that. Thankfully, the process of map control will be a little bit easier this time since we're going to be going over towards a bar hold now.
He knew, man. You could see it on his face. He knew. Oh, I'm loving this right now. This is exactly what we wanted out of these two rosters. It's only round 3 right now. I'm hoping for overtime, man. I really want to see this get down to the wire. We need some pressure for this one. This is where we separate the good from the great, folks. And the greatest thing about this whole thing is one of these teams still has to play BDS tomorrow. So lots still to be had. Not exactly for you and I, but definitely still some action here left today. One that you and I are definitely going to be paying very, very close attention to, as this has been so very entertaining here on Chalet so far. And honestly, a nice little breath of fresh air as our previous map's a little bit more clear-oriented, whereas Chalet, it's really about just getting the goods, man. You're trying to take these fights, and it looks like it's going to be happening now. No way! W7M, the biggest mistake you can make on the window. They don't look down. There's 2 frost mats, and that's the round. M80, round 3, 2-1 in less than 30 seconds.
M80 with the all-star defense right there. Beautifully done, and what a massive blunder from w7m. That's one of the most default spots to put the double frost mat. The fact that they don't go for the check on that. What is going on in the heads? And then Iconic with the window peek double kill to pop it all off. Beautifully done there. They barely had to lift a finger to get it done.
Yeah, they lined themselves up for that one. Just had to be able to keep control of that 416. Something you will more than likely never see again right there, folks. The double frost mat into the double impact kill because of the 2 downs.
Cerebro from Iconic to read that they would go for the window rotate there as well. Beautifully done, and it just boom, boom, beautiful.
That's one of those things as well, is think about his positioning. He's all the way across the map. That's the only way that he's able to affect that play, and immediately grabs it. It isn't something that he has to look for. He doesn't have to wait for a call from his IGL. He's just there, he's ready, and they're dead, man. They are dead. M80 are playing so well right now on this defensive end, and really, I think it took that initial little fire from our teammate there of Kino to really get that into their bellies, man. They're ready for this one, and you heard it from Ian as well. Energy, energy, energy. M80 are here to play. W7M, we got to find that bowl once again.
You know, rocking with a 2.0 KPR right now as well. It's 6-1 currently on the scoreboard. So some impressive stats for him. The rest of the teammates, of course, helping out when they can, but they haven't even necessarily needed to. Kino has been playing lights out here so far today. And he's going to more than likely be able to continue to do so unless w7m changes their playstyle up in a big way. More importantly, stops making these mistakes. 2 frost mats back to back. Like Stokes said, that's not something you're probably ever going to see. At least not anywhere in the near future. So props to M80 for getting away with that one. They've been birthed with a massive advantage here at a 2-1 scoreline lead over w7m as well. And w7m more than likely hugely demoralized after that last round.
By the time that happens again, I'll be senile and be like, I remember when that happened. Like, okay, Grandpa.
Back to bed.
Exactly, back to bed. W7M have at least been able to gather control of the library portion of the building and begin breaking down the office wall. A really big hole coming right up. We'll let you guys use your creative minds for that one. 7M do have the crossfire set up, and obviously this window play, a little known here. It's a known quantity, is one of the most important portions of this area. So it's going to hold on to that for a little while until we have another addition of a Kiba barrier. The blow at the top side as well, and make sure these long angles have to be dealt with by M80. That's going to force Diaz's hand as he'll go down to JV92, and Hertz will follow it up as well.
Much better consistency this time from W7M as they recenter themselves and focus up for those initial entries, locking them in as well. As both Kino and Diaz both go down. No damage traded onto anyone from W7M in the process of that. Kill number 3 potentially in the future here too. There we go. This is the W7M that we were missing the last couple of rounds here. Iconic trades one back, but so far that's it. Herds with his 3rd on the round. And now Iconic can't even escape the kitchen as Felipak shuts him down. And W7M gets a quick spot of revenge there. But they unfortunately quickly lost the round before that.
W7M are really good at clearing things out for this kitchen site. Full control over on the fireplace library side. Not a single soul can exist over there for M80 without facing some very serious repercussions. And then quickly move that on into a very nice execution. Keep the angles open up top. Keep that crossfire there so nobody can really deal with the wall that they're going for with the thermite. And then transitioning that quickly down to get the kitchen wall too, or rather the dining wall. But still, at the end of the day, W7M not really having to, try and reset themselves too much. They're here and they are so very ready for a series like this. And I mean, this is a team that could continue to stand the test of time here, John. Last year they dropped a game, to BDS, but this time around, dude, W7M looking to get things done. Our recent major winners, M80 gonna call the timeout. Does mean that they don't have one for the remainder of the series here. W7M going to be the only ones that can stop this clock in the future. M80, little conversation point about Wine Cellar, as if you guys just joined us, is the site that we saw M80 and more specifically Kino have a huge moment on with his 3K that clutched up the round.
Let's see if we can line up for it one more time here for M80 to quickly retake their advantage. At the same time, W7M looking strong after what we just saw on round number 4. They're not taking any prisoners as M80 tried to continue to play into their more aggressive shenanigans with the roam game, but finally were heavily punished for it. W7M barely lost a single player over the course of that exchange. Just one trade, I believe, in the midst of the site take. That round was pretty much over already at that point anyway, so not really much to worry about with respect to that. As W7M looking a lot cleaner now. It's time to see if they can continue that into the basement. I mean, not really changed up a whole lot when it comes to their operator lineup here for the basement hold. Usual suspects coming in here for it. Usual bits of delay as well. Diaz, of course, having the Goyo canister just to slow things down if W7M take too much map control early on. And then a pretty straightforward assortment aside from that.
Key thing here is Kino's not going to have access to the pivotal piece of utility we saw from round 2 or 3 there, where he was able to clutch that up. We'll have the Nitro Cell, so he will be playing smoke, but does still have mitigation when it comes to those toxic babes. W7M will start things off on Solarium's side, at least for the Thermite's sake. As we know, W7M kind of likes to keep things tight-knit, but also really enjoy their cutoffs, so could see some of those developed throughout the building. As soon as I say that, Herds gets himself over on the Ego balcony, looking to see if he can potentially give M80 some trouble. An angle already opened on the double window over towards office, and this might be something that Iconic looks to deal with here momentarily.
Felipak continuing to maintain that position, but Iconic
if it goes right, he's going for it.
He knows he's going to be clearing him out in a second, or at least trying to here. Nade bounce, trying to open things up on the inside of bathroom, but I believe there's a Kiba blocking that, so I doubt it's going to do too much. Still trying to flash in, take down Iconic here, full blind on him, can't find the headshot angle. There is going to be additional pressure coming in from the big window now too, but Iconic will be aware of that and be given the chance to escape as he drops down the hatch and falls back into the bar connector.
Count your lucky stars there, Dave. Nobody on the double window on the other side of library willing to hop in and actually assist Buck with that situation. That could have been a kill as Iconic was staring at the floor. A tag onto the breaching charge, wielding Herds, but he's going to take down Spoit. Has a chance for another one right around the hood there over the top of the oven, but nobody actually going to peek in through that hatch. W7M now with top control. A little bit of damage dealt to them. One player down and some damage dealt to M80. 1 minute remaining here, John. How about you walk us through this?
Kills have been fairly minimal so far from w7m, but they have been taking a lot of map control, and that, over the period of time, will start to translate into kills as we're seeing now. JB92 lining up a second one. Diaz trying to peek back out here for a little bit of aggression. He gets caught in that as well, but he's allowed to back away before he makes the ultimate mistake. Away from that though, still holding a pretty harsh angle. No, Herds just completely misses the plot on it. Unfortunately, he goes down to it. JB92 still making massive progress on the basement lurk though, as he's knocked out another member of M80. And Kino, Diaz as well as Iconic are all that remains. Iconic still maintains control, full control that is as well of Blue Hall, so has a great cross here to stop this entry, but fires a bit too early. They know he's there now and they can set up to counter him. The great dash after the flash. Both players now contained on the inside of this blue hallway. Felipox does get down, but he is retrievable. Never mind, more than likely not going to be the case. He's on main stairs right now, and the plant has gone down. A lineup that's dangerous for both the members on M80, and Iconic will fall because of it. JV92 has the open path from wide, and he'll close the gap on blue to shut down the round.
3-2 in favor of w7m. Neck and neck. Seeming as though there's always an opportunity for one of these teams to just hit that little burst of speed, potentially take the round away. Some shots just going wide there, John, that really could have been the difference maker for M80. Iconic trying to get that rotation to work out on blue, but can't find anybody transferring across the breach there over towards the deeper portion of Wine. Even the Thermite ended up crossing decently late. That's really the biggest punishing factor there, minus the obvious man count. That is the biggest issue going into a moment like this. w7m, fantastic about shutting things down. Never the patience play from them. Always calculated, always coordinated, all the time. And they solve that equation yet again. Into round 6 we go. w7m with a chance here for a 4-2 half, but M80, they have not been a slouch, John. More than likely prepared for what is to come. We saw w7m, I do believe, with a decent rush strat the last time from the garage that we saw them on Chalet. I do believe that was the last time you and I ended up casting them. So some laser gates to try and mitigate that and at least give M80 some inkling as to what could go on in the early beginnings of this round.
Yeah, giving over to our attackers one final time here.
Oh, there's 2 frost mats, you better watch yourself.
yeah, we do have those frost mats back again, so we'll see if they're going to be as effective.
Oh, it's one. It's one. We're giving them the benefit of the doubt.
That's the good news. We can only lose one player this time. w7 to make that hop again. So they've spread them out a bit more, as you can see. The second and third one. That third one going upstairs in the piano window. And then, of course, the one we just saw back over there by the main stairs window, too. But Felipox getting a lot of not only info, but well, not really going to take anything out, unfortunately, with this Terran front. But the info is pretty good as he does get a good spot as to what the actual site setup looks like. And more importantly, who is going to be positioned on the inside of the connector hole here. So they know that flashes and smokes will be ineffective against that angle now that they've seen it's the Warden.
Everybody focused on this top 4 position. Nades out. Might land on Gomez here as they do have a Jaeger, so it should be an ADS upstairs, and I do believe it is heard that gets zapped. So frag grenade will get eaten up there. Very well done from them. There's one kind of expecting throughout this tournament. A little bit more play in that vein. So a lot of these teams really favoring those frag grenades. Although exactly the best way to try and prevent something like that. Definitely can be beneficial to you. What a kill there from Spoit, though. Be able to take down Felipox. Does have one still outside of the balcony to try and deal with. Birds has been able to at least gather a little bit of control of Library. JV with a little damage towards him. And M80 looking as though this could be their round once again. They are the kings of games and bar. No way for w7m to really try and push themselves forward. They're all on their own respective islands, and Spoit is putting them to the sword right now, John. A triple kill for him. It's only left up to Nades and Herds, and they gotta try and deal with this madman that is sitting right around the corner from them. It's actually gonna be Gomez instead. Some nice shots, he'll kill one. Is it gonna be a double for him? No, it's a double for Nade, though, as he's got very minimal HP. The Jaeger should find it. It'll be Iconic to nip it in the bud, and it'll be a 3-3 half.
M80 refusing to give even an inch of map control over to w7m there, and most importantly, an inch of map control in the most important parts of the map, upstairs in Library, over by Piano. Members of w7m just could not get anything going for themselves there. Once again, on that Bard attack as well, so M80 continue to hold the line and shut things down from those vertical positions. As we see w7m just forced into the fight there. JB92 going down on the top down angle, just continue to get worse and worse for them. Falter one final time there for the lock-in here at halftime at a 3-3 scoreline now. Teams will switch sides, and it'll be N80's turn to attack. 4 rounds separate both teams from the win right now.
Spoit, just like a samurai there, man. Just very simple cuts. as he quickly dispatches w7m time and time again. Triple kill for him in that round. And multi-kills wise, Spoit is ahead of everybody on M80 by a country mile. It seems like every map we watch from him, every other round, double kill, triple kill, quad kill. So very crazy. You can see why M80 were so serious about picking him up at a Euro.
Attacker's objective is to defuse the bomb.
Well, that'll push us past the first half now into the second. The Monty has been allowed to be played as well here. Remember, he was banned on map number 2. He's been allowed back out, and this is another map where M80 are going to find some strength from him. So immediately, Kina will go for that pick on round number 1 to try and brute force some map control here, especially now that mirror window's been taken care of, onto the inside of the main lobby, and by extension of that, potential plant into living room. Kina will start the take, it looks like from the backside, though, just to make sure they can sweep through barn games as well, prevent any sneaky lurkers on W7M from getting away with anything. We've already seen the consequences that can cause earlier on in this series, so we learned from that, and we'll go through this very long process of running out pretty much everything before they go for the outright snap. And this execute here, which will probably be a fairly quick follow-through, just based on how much time they're spending here with the pre-droning. Right from that, though, as well as Gomez, still lined up, waiting for their opportunity to move forward, and w7m obliging none of this.
There we go.
Continuing to hold back, continuing to just wait this out. They've got mirror windows. They've got a little bunker here on the inside of office. They do not need to force themselves into the open just yet. Now that's going to start to change, however. You can see Kino's going to work on potentially popping open this wall. They do have the ace to do that, but Iconic's not in the area right now. As long as
nice.
that, there we go. Gomez sneaks in another Twitch drone. That's both mirror windows now popped open. Beautifully done by M80.
Oh, KZ, you better count your lucky stars on that one. Ran right through the spray. Now single one of those bullets hitting him somehow. A matrix move from him. KZ still able to stave off elimination even with the window player there that will tag him up. Monty in, he does see one. Kino,
the bait.
So far so good on clearing out this top floor. Do remember though that this is a kitchen setup, so M80 still have to try and find some place to put this case.
Diaz, a nice spot there, sneaks off a little bit more damage, this time I believe connecting onto Nate. Diaz will get it through the window a few seconds later as Herds goes down outright. Goodbye to the Fenrir, can no longer close and reopen those fear mines if we wanted to switch them up for a late round play closer to the site. No longer an option. Diaz may have been his match here though. He gets dropped down quite heavily, but it's a great distraction as now Gomez carves through the trophy staircase and takes out 2 additional players, including the one that was threatening his teammate on the outside. Kino now with an open plan avenue will be slamming this on the ground in just a moment, and now a third for Gomez. Also, beautiful overwatch for his planter here. Nade with really no position to play off of, worried more about a flank than actually stopping the play right now. May be able to get the trade onto Spoit, but beyond that, it's going to be a tough ask to get the outright clutch here as he still has 4 other players to eliminate. Outside, at least gets that drop there. Just playing for kills at this point, really. Not really trying to play for the round. So Gomez ends up with a 4th at the end of everything here. 4K on the round for him and a massive overall round to open the pathway for his team to get that plan on the ground.
You heard it here first, folks. We're up in the pace. We go again, and we go faster. Looks like they haven't turned the actual key on this Ferrari just yet there, John. Love what we're seeing out of Bibu. Love what we're seeing out of this squad on M80. You can look how happy this man is. He's like, listen, man, we got him against the wall. We have them. They call their timeout. They're trying to figure things out. This is our game to lose, especially when you have Gomez with, practically a sledgehammer just flying through the map, plowing through w7m. I mean, what more can you do? He was 1-5, he's 5-5 after that round, folks. That's just how dynamic M80's roster is. They're not just operating with 1 or 2 or 3 people that can do this. Everybody across the board can have their time to shine, and that was Gomez's right there.
Still an incredibly close scoreboard if you look at all 10 players as well. No one really shining to a massive degree right now. It's a neck-and-neck game, both in the frags and in the rounds here. So truly the better team is going to end up winning, it looks like, at the end of the day. It's once again everyone from M80 continuing to step up here also.
I swear to God, I thought I was on something when I initially looked up, but Fuse is indeed in that lineup. This is going to be so awesome. I'm loving all of this. He's going to switch it up though over to the Doke. Honestly, I still think it's just a good thing to kind of show off initially and just be like, I mean, hey, if you are going to gaming or something like that, or you're going downstairs in the basement, they might be bringing some trouble to you and your front door. Some hockey pucks.
I think the bigger problem with this site is just not really good spots to put it, other than to clear out. Like insight utility is really all you'd get out of it, because you're not really going to pop open one directly on someone's head or anything like that, I don't think.
The randomness, as well as like any player over towards B site. Also, at least if I remember right, the spread initially is actually kind of planned, so you can, if you have a lineup, get a fuse in towards the back end, but that's just asking a lot. So I'm definitely on the same board as you. I'd much rather just seen it used as like a pseudo chess piece.
Like I said, for like something like basement or whatnot, I can see it working a lot better, especially like if you're trying to push line.
Oh yeah, so much room and fire, right?
Especially because now they can hard breach sort of those things, so they can at least like implode through hard breach.
Oh, true. Yeah. Always got to remember that nowadays with fuse, is he can actually end up going through that hard breach as well. It's not all about the soft verticality like it used to be. So, see what M80 able to do with this lineup that they've now chosen. DS will bring in the Flores drones, which dictates that we're more than likely going to be pulling through the utility game of W7M here. They don't have any mutes up, no Mozzies or nothing, but they do have at least Mira to be able to peer through some of these halls, potentially get rid of these Roteros before they get too much damage done. Do have a Mayan Jaeger as well, so W7M trying to slow up some of this potential play here from M80. You guys heard it from Bibu. He said speed things up. Things not exactly the quickest as of right now, but that doesn't mean that it can't pop off at any moment. Fleetpox is actually going to be the first one to land a death blow. It's going to be onto Iconic.
Maybe falter to start off the round. It isn't just the entry op though, so no huge pieces of utility being lost. Like I mentioned before, there's no huge all-star effect coming into play right now for M80, so we're not losing a massive frag or anything like that either at this point. Should be able to step up and potentially pick up the slack if needed. Take a look at Gomez right now, who is attempting to get that exchange. Unsuccessful, and even worse now, Nade reels in Kino. And now we're losing a big piece of utility, and the case has also gone down onto the ground. Shouldn't be the end of the world there. Spoit, no! Is not going to be able to get it back, unfortunately, as JV92 still maintains some library control. He knocks out Spoit with that and finally rotates away from this when the damage is done. Down to a 5v2. Foolish to risk anyone else's life by continuing to stay up here. They've already got a massive advantage. Just play onto that. They'll certainly try to do so here, but...
Some rotation, John. Through Master, nice find from Gomez. Didn't have the dope calls or anything, just pure game sense there. Still 2 versus 4 though. A really long road ahead of them. Not very much time remaining.
Everyone on M80 trying to find a lineup here, or at least the one still up on top. It's Diaz looking for it. Felipox though with the immediate counter. They don't suspect a player to be hiding on basement stairs, so one goes down already. Diaz does catch the push out from the dining room. He's stopping outright loss here, but he still has another flank coming from that bottom staircase. He'll know it now. Some shots ring out from that player. Time obviously becoming a bit of an issue here too. Tries to force the issue, but walks right into the cross. There's a successful traded round coming in from W7M. They're not giving up here either after that pause. They find some success. They bring us very, very close once again. Them taking control of the lead.
Both of the timeouts wielded well from their respective teams, John. They get around after each one. And Chalet tied up 4-4. It's going to be a wine cellar snowmobile defense out of W7M. M80, you have Glaz in the lineup as of right now. Definitely an interesting fold. Blackbeard coming into play as well for DS. Not exactly something you would expect for this basement setup, but we'll have to see what he could get done. It could be something as simple as just holding a rotation. Nice find there from Fleetpox on the replay. We'll continue to set things up post these highlights here. Basement defense should bode decently well for W7M, especially with these cap cam traps that Hertz has to kind of sprinkle around the map. Definitely something to catch M80 off guard, kind of slow them up a bit. Diaz is actually going to move on over to the line. They'll drop the Dokkaebi for the Thermite, and the Fuse will come through. So that's what they're looking for. They're looking to bring the Fuse on this basement site. Last but surely not least, we will have Spoit on this Jackal. And that's going to be a very pivotal piece to this utility game that they have going on, or rather info game really at the end of the day, is if Spoit really tracks anybody down and Diaz hits that EE1D, whoever is being tracked is in the worst series of events that you can potentially be in Rainbow Six. The spin cycle, John.
More prowess coming out here from M80 this time around. Like Stokes had mentioned, Gomez committing himself. Operator here. We'll have to see if those nades will be able to pierce the veil and find the impact necessary here. to weaken the site to a degree where M80 can force themselves in and take it. So got a few other things to worry about before he gets to that phase of the round, though. He's part of the upstairs clear here. And there's quite a bit of upstairs presence from w7m. 3 players currently in position or able to support this in some way. Felipe Fox is on the first floor here, watching for the front door entryway as well from the inside of Kitchen. In a little bit more of a dangerous spot, but I'm going to assume that the hatch is open. Indeed, it is for Moto downstairs, so he's got a rotation path to get himself out of here without too much risk to himself. It's more so, oh man, Herds just popping right out onto Spoit. Full intel given over, but still could not manage to get away from it there. Spoit loses himself. It's a free pick from w7m to start it out, and it gets even worse as Herds now gets away with one in Library too. The second player knocked out. That's their hard breach. They're about to lose this fuse. Also, there he goes. No, never mind. That was a completely separate player. Iconic is down. Gomez is still in it, just barely, with about 1 HP to play off of here. Herds is just having his way with the M80 roster right now.
1v5, make it a 1v4 for Gomez on 1 HP. Not exactly a round you'd expect out of M80, and I mean, what an awkward moment there for that opening kill from w7m as well. All of the info in the world on Herds' location there, and Spoit just doesn't respect the window anymore. He pops it open and then immediately looks away. These are Brazilian players, man. They want that fight. They want it really bad. And, I mean, you can just see how strong Herds is in moments like that. A triple kill for him on this round that practically shuts up M80 on the offensive side. Gomez spraying through, but this is all basically already a solved puzzle, ladies and gents, and w7m will take the lead.
Gomez knew he didn't really have much of a chance to win that one, like the observer pointed out, leaving the case up on the second floor. They're just trying to pad his stats a little bit, get as many kills as possible before he ultimately got traded at like 2 HP there. So w7m take the lead with that. 2 more rounds to go. And they'll be our finalists instead. A bit of a surprise, given how M80 were able to shut things down in map number 2. Surely it was looking like things were going their way, but not so much as at these last few rounds here. Looks like we may have a LATAM representative going in instead.
I just still can't believe that that moment with Herds, the initial kill happened. I'm just flabbergasted that that was even allowed. But M80, they still have a lot of chances here. It's definitely something that they can quickly just dispatch out of their brain. It's not really something to be concerned with. You're like, things didn't work out. It happens. Whatever. A couple of missed decisions there. But now, back into the round. So very close. It's neck and neck in between these two. Round 10 now on the docket, folks. It's going to be a kitchen defense here from w7m. We've got Mute Jammers as well as the Kaid in here. See what they can get done. Oh, looks like we'll actually have
I gotta rehost this
one of the players end up dipping out. So yeah, I do believe that we'll actually have to end up rehosting here. We'll get confirmation from y'all, and then we'll get confirmation from production for y'all, rather. And then we will let you guys know what's going on.
All right, folks, like I said there, just a few moments, then we'll be back into the game. Still a close neck-and-neck matchup here, as it would appear, between both of these teams. w7m currently with the edge. It's be a little bit tense to hop in a game for a few moments here, but it's decided to do it as well. So, like I said, it could just be like a piece of your headset issue or something real quick. Hopefully a fast fix for our admin team, and we'll just get everybody back into the server and resume where we were. It was the drone bug. The usual.
The worst kind.
As I like to call it.
The usual. Old reliable.
I'm like year 6,000 of that bug here. So.
Yeah, that one started before the land of time. Like, actually.
The old reliable.
Yeah, that's the first thing that Ubisoft actually made for Rainbow Six Siege was the drone bug. They're like, I got an idea for the game.
Yes, guys. I mean, you're all pretty dedicated Siege viewers at this point.
If you don't know, now you know. All right.
You know
listen, man, I've dealt with this game since beta. All right.
I'm surprised we haven't had one already. This is the first time I've hit one this tournament.
Yeah,
so we've actually been on a good track record so far.
Listen, you better knock on everything, man. Like, come on. Oh man. Hey, we do get to look at the cool AR though.
Absolutely the case. And again, just this great stage here that we've got set up for
so
the
badass.
Venue. So many cool effects. We were like teleporting the players on stage for the walkouts, breaking them out of a pixel box. Like I said, we got that like cool glass effect too. I don't think we've seen it in a while, but I'm like 99% sure we've got the type of glass here that you guys are seeing in front of the players. Once we go in game, that glass frosts itself, so they can't actually see the other team because it looks like they can see them right now.
That is proper, yeah.
Yep, yeah.
Good on you, man.
Production just confirmed that. Like I said, I've seen this used at a few other like CSGO tournaments and stuff.
I mean, what have you been doing?
Cool, we're getting to here.
Working here for like 10 years or something?
Yeah.
Actually.
About.
Oh, man. My favorite piece of lore about you, John, is still the fact that you are the voice of the Summit 1G clip.
Yeah.
That to this day, I'm like, one of my best friends.
I don't brag about that too much. It's
No,
like,
I mean, yeah, it's just
it's like a
moment,
weird
right?
moment, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's obviously like a big moment too.
Exactly. You know, but it's one of those things where just like, that's just such an oddity. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's not something you expect, and all of a sudden you go back and watch it, and every time I watch it, I always just hear this in my head. Oh no, Summit! It's just such a good moment, dude. But ladies and gents, we are just moments away. I know we're kind of, you know, taking the out of this situation right now, but we're just waiting on one more player to get back in from M80 in this hotly contested series. Both of these teams have been just such a hallmark of what Rainbow Six Siege should be. Fantastic strategy, good team play, trusting your players, clutch moments, everything. It looks so cool, including this. Glass, do it. Oh, I was hoping you. Hey!
There we go. So
There
you
it
can
is
see
right
it there now.
there.
We had that
Dude.
unfrosted a second ago. Now we refrost it. Like I said, now that we get in game.
That's so freaking sick.
Yeah.
Oh.
You can see, look, as soon as we get out of the round two, it fades out a bit there. Very cool. Very cool.
That's so cool, man. Can you guys like do that at my house? Like when I close my door and lock it, can I just boom? The whole house is frost. That's like hundreds of thousands of dollars,
I don't know if
probably.
you want a glass house.
No. I meant the windows just in my
just the
house, all
windows.
frost. Would that not be so sick?
Yeah, the HOA may have a problem with that, but
HOAs are terrible anyways.
Once again, folks, we're going to get you back in game as quickly as possible here. We do have all 10 players back in the lobby, so it's just a matter of setting up the server and getting us back into it here, and hopefully we're able to resume without conflict at that point. Both teams readied up, so shouldn't be much holding us back at this point. We'll get ourselves into it. And it's time to see, once again, if w7m can complete this set. They're on the run for it right now, but at the same time, M80 is right behind them.
Absolutely. Literal moments away from jumping back into this one, folks. As you said earlier, John, looking to see if M80 can pierce this veil. W7M are going to be the Bulls in the Bronx. Both these respective teams have just been so very strong and fantastic to watch throughout these last handful of months as well. I've loved the development process, of M80 throughout these few months that we've had them along for this ride, especially with the additions of Iconic and Spoit. I mean, Iconic, I cannot sing his praises high enough. I've watched this guy before he was ever even a T2 player. I mean, he's just such an amazing guy, just as a human being. And then you also add the fact that he's one of the most badass players in all of North America when it comes to beating up some people in Rainbow Six Siege, and makes for a pretty interesting story. So, love to see Dave get to this final, at least for my NA heart, but I mean, back and forth in between these two. You can never count W7 out, and really, at the end of the day, John, you know me. I'm just here for some good Siege, man. As long as we're entertained, that's all I care about, and it'll just be another piece of the story for either one of these teams, another slot in the history books of Siege here in 2023.
Always important to talk about the mental aspect of a long tech pause like this. Obviously, some players are kind of heated up in the moment of those rounds. Some players are not in the best mental state. So this oftentimes has a massive kind of double-edged sword effect based on the mood of any individual player. For some players, this type of pause is going to be a great thing, because if they're kind of frustrated with their gameplay, it gives them a chance to get out of game, kind of reset, recenter themselves, if they have the mental strength to do that. But at the same time, for players that are hot, it could lead to them kind of cooling down a bit, as they're no longer in that kind of hyped mindset that they might have been off of winning the past few rounds here. So look at this. We're even like aim training on the server menu there. Players flicking his mouse back and forth. So like I said there, everybody just trying to stay heated up, trying to stay warm for these matches. That's why you see players doing things like that here, is they don't want to lose that focus that they've had already for the past like 7 to 8 rounds now. Focus up here, make sure that they are as hot as possible to get themselves back in the game, especially with how close it is right now. We appreciate your patience as always, folks, while we work to get ourselves back into it here. Like I said before, it shouldn't be too much of a delay at this point. Just working on the A-OK from the production side of things, and then we should be good to go to get ourselves back into this matchup and find a winner to move on to face-off. Spoiler alert, I've already said it multiple times, but I'm going to say it this time. Face-off against BDS tomorrow. That was a winner from our previous matchup today. Eliminating the local heroes and the Falcons. Did not get to see them make it all the way forward this time like they did last year, but that does mean the BDS as well have the opportunity for the 2-time championship here. They were also the victors of Gamers8 2022 for Rainbow Six, looking to make the comeback run on that one more time and lift that same trophy this year as well.
Oh, man. Can't wait for Shaiko to ask what color our Bugatti is here in the future if he ends up winning this tournament. My gosh, he's gonna have so much money to his name. It's actually just crazy. What the hell? I mean, if Merc buys a Nissan GTR after winning what hammer, like what the hell is this guy gonna do? Dude, it's a really good thing that Alamau did not win this. Oh my god, dude, he just set that money on fire so fast.
Very close affair between both of these teams, incredibly back and forth too. Another point to mention as well, once more, aside from a little bit of heroics out of one of the members from W7M, this has been a very, very team-oriented series. No huge standout individual player that's really making the difference on any one team right now. It's the team strategies working together. You got moments where a player is able to get away with a 2K or 3K, but they're not doing it on every single round, like I said before. So whoever has the strongest overall roster seems to be able to confirm these rounds here. Shut down the maps, it seems to be the winner. So it's going to be a very well-deserved final position for whichever team ends up closing down this map. Getting closer and closer to the resolution of this game one final time. Let's see here once again. Just a little update on what we got going on in the lobby.
And bumps.
Yep, just about ready to start. So let's get back into it, folks. Resuming the game right where we left it back off. Huge apologies, of course, for that delay of game. Well, your time as well, so we thank you very much for your patience as we are finally heading back into it. Once again, if you are just joining us, it's M80 versus W7M, currently tied 1-1 on map number 3. W7M is up, but only by 1 round at 5-4. Just 2 rounds needed for our defenders right now, and W7M will be moving on to the finals.
Kitchen dining defense here, W7M. M80. A heck of a lineup too. Bring the fuse back in. I really want to talk about this Mario, potential for that hatch plant coming through. Also have the Kaid and some other very interesting characters here for W7M. Love the mutes coming through for Nade that can try and hold up these walls, forcing M80's hand to try and clear this out. Kino and Gomez will be on the Lion and Dokkaebi respectively, and that's going to be the biggest part of this puzzle for M80 is their ability to lock down W7M and make them more of a known quantity throughout the map.
Finally into it. Take a look and see if there's going to be any crazy setups from W7M, but from the looks of things, we've got a pretty straightforward lineup of operators and should have a pretty straightforward setup to go along with it. Usual setups on the outside of Library just to boost this and prevent an easy clearance from M80. More importantly, if they're able to keep this Library setup alive, it's going to seriously get into the way of a potential clearance from Kino. So we'll be bringing the Montaigne in once again. Last time we did see them try to take the kind of main living room route to push themselves over towards dining. Bit of an issue with that though, so we'll see if they can find better success on it this time, if they're able to clear out, again, this extension towards Library, as KZ is going to continue to maintain a very strong position until he's been dealt with.
Beginnings of an M80 round, any round in Siege, the drone phase, things out. What's going on inside of this map, open up this can of worms. Got one on the top floor here for Kino, and I'll be able to suss out as he rolls up Fireplace Hall. That's all my disc there. Potential Dread Mine as well. He found the Electro Claw. Spoit, actually worried about somebody right around the corner there. I do believe that he just ends up blowing to open the door on Mud, and yes, indeed. Nobody home, though, for Gomez. Is everyone actually up right above him? Able to see there initially. So he'll rotate his way back. Spoit with the very first big kill, and that's going to be on a JV92. He still had another Electro Claw. I'm very surprised that it actually ended up going the way that it did. AZ with some impacts, but Kino takes barely any damage from that at all. And a very nice find from Iconic as M80 set up on this top floor quickly dispatches too.
You know, continuing to clear things out here. A little uneventful for him, obviously, as it is fully cleared already. That player holding on the mid-stairs landing for blue currently. Turns will be pretty powerless to stop this player at home. Okay, Kino is unshielded right now. His back is revealed. If they're unaware of that player on blue stairs, well, here's your moment, Hertz. Are you going to be able to capitalize it? He's moved forward, but no longer. Drone spotted him out. Loses that opportunity and not have the courage to go for the peek. That'll be a massive loss here considering they're already down 2 players. And there's now someone waiting for him on the lower landing of blue. Beautifully done by Gomez to knock out Hertz, your M80 back in the driver's seat right now. Nade being pushed into a corner, pushed into a kill box, it seems, as Diaz knocks him out. Philippok, all that remains for the 1v5. He's not even on the site. Plant should be coming any moment here. Philippok does have a slight top-down edge to potentially stop this plant from going onto the ground, but more than likely not with Kino doing it. Leapbox trying to be oh so careful about every little move he makes. But at this point, again, it's nigh impossible to close down on the actual round. Even denied one more time of that potential pick of Iconic. Just does not work out. See an outright shutdown from M80 here to resume the game. Flawless round from them, and they tie us up at 5-5.
Very well done from M80. And as you said, a flawless round. I'm sorry, I was looking at my notes right there. Was it a flawless?
Yeah.
Wow, very well done from them, especially after such a long break. M80 able to at least keep some of that energy, propel themselves forward. Nice find there from Spoit. We'll walk you guys through the remainder of that via highlights. Round 11 up next, though. Excited to see what M80 are going to do now that w7m are kind of back into the server now. What's going to be going on? A fresh look, a fresh face going into this next round. I believe it's going to be all the way downstairs. We'll have a look-see here as we get in. No, it's going to be bar gaming instead here for w7m. They will be bringing the frost mats, though. That's were really the biggest issue for them when they actually ended up going for this site. At least the initial time, where they went for a very quick execute, ended up plopping 2 of them right into those frost mats directly inside of gaming.
5 seconds left before insertion.
With nearly a full repick for that as well. The top 4 players, everyone except Spoit, ends up changing their operator there, but it's not going to end up with anything crazy here. More than likely just expected the wrong site and needed to thematically change things up a little bit here. Kino as well also going to bring a Capitao into the fold, not something we tend to see super often here. It could be great specifically for their ability to box out potentially that connector position or somewhere else. We're not going to have the usual Warden to play into that one, but at the same time on the defense, have more than enough to fend off this challenge, especially if they continue to be a menace here on the inside of Wyvern. Last round wasn't really so much, though. M80 cleared it with relative ease. Already, JB92's position is going to be forced out here. He does not feel the need to stick around and try to go for an opening pick. Philippe is playing way on the outside around the corner. Could potentially try to jump out or peek from that window there to get some extra damage onto these players playing on the roof balcony right now, but unfortunately no real proficient angle is going to be given just as of yet here, unfortunately. So not a whole lot of play potential being lined up for Philippe just yet.
All quiet around Chalet. Snow-capped mountains surely helping with that, but also bounce back a lot of the audio from the report of these weapons. Surprised you never caused an avalanche, actually, on this map. Is some of these guns are pretty dang loud, man. Gotta watch yourself on the mountains. M80 not looking to push themselves too far ahead in this round without knowing exactly what they're going to be facing down. So we saw in the previous one, and it worked out swimmingly for them, so why not again? JB92 will continue to try and hold on to blue stairs. He's got some Legion Mines to continue to try and assist. He'll apply those accordingly around the map. Another EU1D to try and influence that position. Potential swing here. He sees the shadow and the shots, but the ARX of Spoit is too damaging. DS will be able to take down Herds. Potential plant coming through, but I don't think he has any cover right now. Nade can potentially swing through. Spoit and KZ, he'll run out. I don't think that anybody knows that Kino's actually... Oh, no, I will be quickly proven wrong, as nobody, again, was holding the actual window. I'm very surprised that they went for that, but a triple kill for Spoit. All they got to do is find Nade. Very large clock left for here for M80. Wide berth given over to them with the remainder of this. A moment for Nade. What could come? To swing through, able to tag up one, but a nice crossfire from Diaz as they get onto map and match point right here, John. And these last 2 rounds, they've looked so easy for M80. This tech pause practically the best thing that could have happened to them. And I think Bibu so just officially hit his Joker arc right there. That was it, man. That was it right there. If he shows up in a purple suit with green hair the next event, you guys know what happened.
I'm so happy we had a mic on him.
It's not about the money. It's about sending a message, John. It's about sending a message.
Boo Boo's having a good time here as they're only 1 round away from closing it down now. 7-5 could become the score line here now for M80. They find 1 more round here. With Spoit being on the heater he was on just in that last round. It's not looking like there's a whole lot on w7m's side that can stop them right now. Who's going to step up to the plate? to potentially prevent this outright ending of the game here and now. More importantly, will W7M be able to push this to overtime? Well, let's find out. It'll be down in the basement. It very well could be. The last defense from W7M and attack from M80. KZ starts us off, tries to go for a timing peek. Does not work out, unfortunately. No damage done. Thankfully, none to him as well. So just a little peek and dodge away for both teams there. M80 are going to go for quite a bit of map control, specifically in the basement here, as they've got a pretty split spawn to start things out. One team's going to obviously work on the snowmobile garage. Another one works on the car garage pressure also.
Okay, M80. Measured twice and cut once. Multiple times here. This looks like this might be a very similar situation, at least initially. Break down Chalet, try and get these angles built up for yourself. Shut down the rotations from W7M. You can see W7M doing their best to try and get ahead of this intro game from M80 they've been exploiting so vividly throughout these last 2 rounds. Some shots, but it's not going to find too much, as there is going to be a hard wall on the other end of that bathroom where Herds is. There'd be a call out as well. The Jackal track, but it shouldn't last too long. I believe Spoit got some old footsies there, so won't be exactly the most amount of scans that he can get out of that, but he's found him again. It's going to force him back off of this top floor. And this is the beauty of Jackal. I mean, just such an influential operator, something that can always apply pressure to you because you don't know where you're going to be potentially getting shot from. Gomez, one and the same in that regard, so he'll get tagged up just a bit. Somebody might go soul searching here. A goo mine. Gomez, I don't know if he's got a cross, and he doesn't. No one there, but oh! Kino finds him through. He saves him. Spoit gets one as well, John. Oh, this is so very close for M80.
It's not looking good for W7M in the meantime here. Nade now off on an island, sitting on the inside of Library here, still the only player continuing to maintain top stairs presence. And considering, again, this is a basement hold right now they're playing into. Still a lot for M80 to manage, a lot that could go wrong for them. But they've started out brilliantly here by bringing it down to a 5v3. Spoit looks to control the side hop into the blue hallway. Gomez at the same time now drops down to start taking control closer to the basement. There's a minimal player count for W7M, if anyone at all really, in the basement. And yeah, we get confirmation on it here. It's just JV92 currently holding on to it. They did find success in denying the snowmobile garage, so M80 do not have access to that route. Now they have intel. Unfortunately, they get the scan, I believe, just on JV92. This is not going to be super useful as he's tucked into the basement. He's still that one player wrapping through games. He can go unnoticed here, but no, JV92 falls, as does Philippox. Nade is all that remains, and he's already been challenged and dropped. It's M80 to move onward to the grand finals of Gamers8 2023, featuring Rainbow Six.
M80, John, explode into the finals. It took them 4 months. 4 damn months with these 2 new additions to get back to a grand final. Iconic finally has a time to be able to take this once again. Spoit here as well. He's already got a major under his belt. He's looking for more here at Gamers8. What a series out of these 2 teams. What a Chalet, though, out of M80. That tech pause practically a curse for W7M as the Bulls are sent to the slaughter.
It'll be the All-Stars of France against the All-Stars of the Americas now for that grand final. Will BDS be able to relift the trophy for 2 years in a row? Or will a new continent steal it away this year? That's going to be your grand finals, ladies and gentlemen. And what a semifinal this was here. Commiserations to W7M, of course, playing their hearts out. Unfortunately, it just seemed like after that technical pause, they lost the fire inside of them, could not bring it back. Too many rounds going away from them far too quickly, and M80 just shuts it down here in the final 2 to 3 rounds of play.
I mean, I feel like we definitely just watched a historical series here in between these 2. This is something that we're going to talk about for some time. Moment-to-moment action. Some of the craziest rounds I've ever seen inside of Rainbow Six Siege across its 8 years as a game and my 5 years as a commentator, John. Truly amazing stuff, and so very happy that you and I got to be the voices for this one.
Like you said, this is just the beginning for M80, only a few months into this roster, combining what we had last year on the XSET lineup, and as well incorporating some additional players from, for instance, the old OXG lineup. But enough from us, ladies and gentlemen. That'll do it for me and Stokes here at the event. We're going to throw it back down to the stage for an interview with our winners. Woo!
Wow. There it is, Team BDS will face off against M80 in our grand final tomorrow. Commiserations to w7m. What an amazing best of 3 that was for a neutral watching along. Please give both teams a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Kino, as we came into the arena, you said, I'll speak to you for the winner's interview. That's how confident you guys were coming into this.
I'm here, am I not?
You are here. And it was, these guys, they won the last major. They're very, very tough opposition. And it was tough in the server as well, wasn't it?
Oh, I can easily say this was the hardest game of my entire career. These guys are good.
كينو معنا في المسرح. سألناه أول شيء في بداية المقابلة إنه أنت قلت لنا قبل ما تبدأ المباراة إنه أنا راح أشوفكم إن شاء الله في المسرح في مقابلة الفائز بعد ما ينتهون من الماب، وفعلا هو موجود الآن معنا على المسرح وفعلا قدرنا نسوي معه المقابلة. لكن سألناه عن المباراة هذه، هل هم كانوا صعبين المنافسين اللي قدامه ولا لا؟ كان جوابه إنه لا، فعلا هذه كانت أصعب مباراة مريت فيها من بداية الكارير حقي كلاعب محترف.
Spoy, it was very vocal between the teams, a lot of energy going back and forth. It's all, friendly afterwards, but in the heat of the moment, that was real tension, wasn't it?
I mean, yeah, it's a business at the end of the day, and we're here to win. I want to start by thanking M80 and all of the staff. Big shout out to Marco as well, that made this possible. This goes back all the way to Berlin back in the days when I was facing up against these guys. And I just knew that these guys had something special, the potential to do something insane. And, we're slowly building it up. Copenhagen didn't really go as well as we thought it would. We were still in figuring out our play style and stuff like that. But now things are coming together great, and I'm here to create a dynasty.
أخذ منهم وقت كثير الفريق هذا عشان يوصلون للمرحلة اللي هم فيها. سألنا اللاعب وش رايك في الراستر وش رايك في اللي قاعد يصير معاهم الآن. كان تركيزه يقول انه انا ودي صراحه اشكر الاداره على انهم دخلوني معهم بالفريق، لانه اول يوم تقابلوا في برلين كانوا متواجهين ضد بعض في البطوله، وهذا اللاعب ما كان معهم اصلا في الفريق، لكن بعد ما شاف مستواهم بعد ما شاف ادائهم كان وده يدخل الفريق، وفعلا قدر يدخل الفريق، والان هو جدا مبسوط وجاي هو الان عشان يصنع اسطوره M80 مع هذا الراستر.
Here to build a dynasty. The job here, of course, is not finished yet, and I know that you've had your eyes on BDS. You know exactly what they're about. What do you make of them as grand final opponents here, Kino?
I think it's one of the best grand finals it could be. I've never played BDS in an official match, and I've been wanting to play them for a while. We practiced against them a few times. We know they're a very aggressive team, so we'll see. Those guys are talented as well, so we're gonna have to put the work in.
Yeah, absolutely. Just finally from you as well, Spoy. Do you think it would be a real putting M80 on the map moment to everybody watching, to all of the other teams, and most importantly to yourselves as part of this roster if you go on to win this tournament?
I mean, Gamers8 is going to be the beginning, and I just hope everything works out the way it should, and I'm just excited to play, so yeah.
سألنا كينو عن موضوع عن المباراة غدا إن شاء الله راح تكون النهائي كبير، راح تكون قدام فريق BDS. وش رايك في الفريق؟ هل عندكم تخوفات؟ كان جوابه فقط يركز على انه احنا فريق BDS ما قد لعبناهم ابدا في افيشال ماتش، لكن فقط لعبنا قدامهم في السكريمات ودربنا عندهم او دربنا ضدهم اكثر من مره، بس ما ندري صراحه اذا احنا نقدر نفوز ولا لا، بس احنا جاهزين للمباراه هذه ودنا نشوف شنو ممكن يقدمونه صراحه، لانه حرفيا المباراه هذه بتكون اول مره تصير في Gamers8، وزي ما ذكروا ايضا بقيه اللاعبين يقولون انه هذه بتكون بدايه Gamers8 او بدايه الانجازات عندهم في فريق M80 في Gamers8، وفقط ان شاء الله بيكونون من الاكبر بعد اللحظه هذه.
Guys, thank you very much. Congratulations once again, M80. We are massively excited to see you guys in action tomorrow. So we'll let you go. I'm not going to say celebrate, I imagine prepare for the grand final. Congratulations again, guys. Shall we talk to Philippe Pox?
Yeah, we should.
Can we give w7m a round of applause as well, guys? Listen, you guys are still regarded by everybody watching this as one of the best teams to ever play this game, but heartbreaking moments happen, and that's just esports, isn't it?
Yeah, they had our number in the series. They knew a lot about us, and they were the better team today.
سألنا فيليب بوكس اللاعب من فريق w7m عن الخسارة، خصوصا انه احنا دائما نتكلم على انه يعتبرون افضل فريق في العالم في عالم ريمبو 6 سيج حتى اللحظة هذه، لكن كانوا يقولون انه هالمرة هذه هم اللي كانوا الفريق الافضل، قدروا انهم يفوزون، صراحة ما في شيء يقول اكثر من كذا.
Philippe Pox, third place, of course, you still get a cut of the pie, and I know that you'll be still very disappointed that you didn't make it to the top, but you will be back, right?
Yeah, we will be back. Now we get some rest, like some well-deserved rest, I think. For stage 2, like we can change a lot of things, and yeah, that's it.
فيليبوكس قاعد يقول انه هذا الوقت الان اللي نقدر ان نرتاح فيه، صحيح انهم بياخذون قسمه كبيره من الجائزه بقيمه $2,000,000 بياخذون قسمه كبيره منها، لكن الوقت هذا بيرتاحون فيه، وطبيعي انه بيقدرون انهم يرجعون مره ثانيه عندنا في المسرح، ممكن نشوفهم في السنوات القادمه ان شاء الله، ما حد يدري.
Filipox, commiserations. Thanks for coming out here to all of your team as well, and for putting on some incredible performances for us throughout this entire tournament. So commiserations again, and enjoy the rest of your stay here in Riyadh. All right, we're going to wrap this up now. That's both of our semi-finals complete, and we now know our grand final is, of course, M80 versus BDS, which is set to be an absolute barn-burner.
تكون من افضل المباريات معنا في تاريخ رينبو 6 سيج اعزائنا المشاهدين. زي ما احنا عارفين المباراه هذه ما قد حدثت ابدا في مسرح عالمي ولا قد صارت ابدا في تاريخ رينبو 6 سيج. M80 ضد فريق BDS تكون من اجمل ما يكون. مره متحمس اللحظه هذه.
Back to the desk.
خلونا نرجع على طول لاستوديو التحليل نتكلم اكثر عن المباراه، لانه هنا في المسرح انتهى شغلنا، على طول نتكلم عن المحللين.
Welcome back to the STC Play Desk, where we're going to be trying to analyze exactly what just happened, because M80, they're going into the finals, and w7m, a team that we had such a high regard for, one of the best teams to ever touch this game. Unfortunately, they end their run here, but they do get $225,000 as well for being third, fourth alongside Falcons, so not too shabby.
They've done it, Ginny. They toppled the Giants. They managed to take the win over w7m. Woo. I didn't think they could do it. I mean, you asked me right before the game started, who's going to win it? Demo refused to make a prediction, but I said w7m. I thought they were the team to beat this tournament, and then they come through and they get beat. Not only by BDS earlier in the group stage, but also by M80 here in the playoffs. What a fantastic performance it was coming through on Chalet. Moved to that attacking side in the second half, and I just thought the way they played, the Yana entries coming through from Spoit, the Monty play from Kino, forcing everybody out. Gomez, that one great round to start off the half, dominating down. You saw the clip just there, down the solar stairs. Everybody was playing fantastically from M80 this match. It was a very tough opponent. They said it themselves in the interview, but boy, oh boy, did they perform.
Overall for M80, they came out with guns blazing for, I think, the majority of those rounds. They were looking to catch w7m by surprise, a team where, you know, if you give them the space, they'll set up, they'll look for the weakness and then exploit, which we see them do all the time. M80 went in with that game plan of, let's not even give them that opportunity. Don't even give them the chance to set up and go for the kill. Hit them while they're still trying to figure out what's happening. M80, it's obviously their biggest win by far.
Yep.
You know, in the history of this side.
Yep.
You can finally see things are clicking. It's now, what, their first final that we have them into as well. And, you know, this team has been kicking around since obviously whenever they were exit. And now you can see, this is what I mean. You have to give a team 3 to 6 months to see if the roster changes really work. We're now in a position, we're what, 3 months in?
Yeah.
Roster changes have worked. They've worked. They've worked.
They have definitely worked for M80. And when we're talking about the roster changes, one of them being Spoit added onto that edition. And I mean, this guy was just, we highlighted him as one of those players that can continuously show up, and he did exactly that for the team. He was doing so much and getting them so much pressure. No wonder that he's going to be the MVP. Yeah, I'm calling it.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Well-deserved, right? I mean, Spoit absolutely showing up with the frags. Again, we saw in that first map, the intel helping him out. Did a great job finding those opening picks, pushing the team forward. The second half of the map didn't really go their way on Villa, but then he showed right back up on Theme Park. You know, the way they were able to move around, the jump out on the Solus to end that map was so impactful for the team, really having everything that he could bring to the roster. And then again, Chalet, the way it ended out, him on Yana is just one of the scariest sights to face up against in Rainbow Six Siege.
Just Spoit. That's it. It's a household name. You walk in and you see it up in lights. He's so, so good. He really is. You can't... It's very rare we see prodigies come in now and then, considering we're so stacked with talent these days. And I think it's been a while since we've seen a new prodigy. You know, this guy came into the scene, you know, a year ago, and he lit the world on fire. He really did ignite the fuse, I suppose, which is, of course, you know, the slogan that M80 go with. But my goodness, he's on fire. And if he plays well, he'll win you championships. We knew that. That's why they picked him up.
Potentially. I mean, they are in the finals tomorrow, and he's going to be there. So this is an international title that they're looking looking to claim.
Yeah, and I think it's important that they have him on the roster because obviously, in many ways, this is still a young team. You know, they've been together for a long time, and I think it's getting to the point where we have to stop calling them that. But still, they've never been here before. For 4 of these players, this is uncharted territory. Spoit's been in a grand final before.
So has Dave.
Been in front of a crowd. Has Iconic been in a grand?
Astralis?
Yeah, you're right. Okay,
you're the
NA.
You're the NA expert. All right, we have
Spoit
Arcadia.
is a champion, you know, and that type of mentality, to bring that into the team, to be able to show the other teammates, you know, this is how we win, this is the mentality that we've got to keep with the squad. I think that's going to be massively impactful for the team.
Yeah, we have the Arcadia MVP of this series, specifically on Spoit. We already highlighted him as a lot coming into the series. You said it really relies on this individual player performing, but I felt like this time around, when we were looking at the performance of M80, it wasn't just Spoit, it was the entire roster coming together, and the communication was just so on point.
Yeah.
Kino today. This has been the tournament of his life.
Yeah.
I think every series he's went into, it's been lights out from the get-go. I think he's earned his stripes, is up there with, he's at least top 3 supports in the world now for me.
Undoubtedly.
Has to be. So I think you have to give credit to Kino and the backline, because again, Kino, I mean, I'll be honest, he does play some difficult rules, but also has some fun rules. Like, he is the designated Ying as well, and that's always a good way of getting yourself into the scoreboard.
Yeah.
But I have to give a lot of credit to Iconic as well, because this is the first tournament where we've really seen him develop into that flex position, that flex role, and that's not an easy transition. That guy was known as being the main entry for his Astralis side for a very long time, and now he's had to learn a whole new role, which, you know, to do that in such a short space of time, I think it's credit to himself, but also credit to the team itself for enabling him and probably giving him a bit of help, the coaching staff, one-on-one sessions, wherever it is. So overall for M80, they're finally getting the rewards that is deserved for them, because they've been trying for a very long time, and they're finally here and they're ready to play.
Yeah, both M80 and BDS are the ones to claim those rewards today. They are now both going into the finals. So having a look at the Colonel's choice of today's highlights, I mean, the matches have been pretty close, especially when we're looking at M80 up against w7m, but even BDS up against Falcons, that was a one for the history books.
Certainly. I mean, we got the rematch from the grand finals last year, you know, and again, BDS taking the W once more. They are going to be an extremely formidable opponent for M80 in the grand finals. If this was the toughest game that M80 had ever played, it's going to get even tougher when they've got to go against this French giant tomorrow.
They're a scary team today, that BDS. That skyscraper just was a display of sheer terror for any it doesn't matter, obviously it had to be Falcons, but that could have been any team to play against BDS and Skyscraper, and I feel as though every single one of them would have been torn to shreds. I think you've got a very scary BDS roster who obviously is out for blood after a very disappointing season. They're looking to get back in, and this always happens with BDS. They look, at some points, you know, some of the worst seeds they played, which was, of course, last stage, Invitational as well. And it's just something ignites within them, and then they just switch on, and we see them bounce back into the next tournament, and they're unstoppable.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it is probably the mentality that, like, you know, they did it to themselves stage 1, but in a lot of ways, like, they were really screwed over in terms of just small results didn't get them there. They were close, right? They win 1 game in groups, they're in a better position for the stage overall. They win 1 game in the qualifier, they're going to get there, and I think having such close losses that impact you so hard, like they lost out on so many, you know, SI points and prize money throughout stage 1, that's going to get you fired up. That's going to make you say, listen, we're going to this next tournament, we're going to put everything on the line. They had a very tough game to get here just in Gamers Without Borders. You know, that best of 5 grand finals against Wild went the distance, but they pulled it off, and now they've pushed themselves to the grand finals. M80 as well, a team that have had to rebuild themselves after making some roster moves. I think if you're either of these two teams, you're very, very happy. And if you're M80 in particular, I think you're asking 1 or 2 questions. Orange, you glad you picked up Spoit and Iconic?
Did you just really say orange, you glad?
Because there's oranges inside.
Oh.
I write his scripts for him. I actually write his lines.
That is a double
okay,
joke.
that
I have to give
explains
credit.
a lot. It's been a long day, huh? Hasn't it? Okay.
It has.
It has definitely been a long day. Let's have a look at the El Habib save of the day, because we need to be safe from this situation, because these two are definitely losing their minds. But when we're looking,
completely safe.
Yeah,
I don't know where this is coming from.
All right, let's bring up the clip. When it comes to El Habib save of the day, this is from the BDS Falcons game specifically.
Big C4 3K clutch coming forward from Bride, and one of the most amazing supports to ever do it, Demo.
I casted this. I remember whenever he got the 2 kill, like it's as if my soul left my body. If you actually go back and listen to it, it's as if everything just sucked the life out of me. But yeah, this is obviously, we've had discussion about Kino being up there. He is #1. He's who Kino needs to overtake, and he could do that tomorrow. That's the thing. It actually sets up quite nicely. As much as we like to highlight, I'm sure everyone will be saying, Spoit versus Shaiko. Yes, Spoit. No.
Yeah.
I want to see the battle of the supports.
100%. And Bride's had the tournament of his life as well. You said that about Kino. I'm going to say about Bride. The stat line that he has been putting up, almost 0 deaths throughout the first day. It was like 4 or something ridiculous like that. He has been so good coming in for BDS, having the save of the day, of course. Massive clutch, the 1v3 to secure their spot here in the grand finals against the Falcons. Just a fantastic player, and the battle of sports tomorrow is going to be incredible.
Yeah, that was the save of the day, but we also have the ALG play of the day, one of the plays that really stood out. I mean, I can probably already guess which round it's going to be. Yeah, there we go. I mean, who would have guessed?
This was such a goofy round, Demo.
See, yeah.
This is a clip that, you know, they happen once in a blue moon for Siege, and it's one of those clips that then you'll reference for years to come. That's one of those. Remember the
I
time
was here.
Remember the time they reinforced the wall, and then the guys ran past them and killed both of them?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's you'll remember that clip now. That's kind of in a legacy spot.
Yeah, people will talk about this, and it's just such a train of events, you know, to start off with Kino going in through bathroom, finding 2 massive picks after the plant goes down in a 5v5 scenario. It started seemingly for free for w7m, and they're like, M80, they pull it back, then it's a great post plant for Philippox, and then he reinforces. Nobody even knew he had it in his pocket. That was not in the cards.
The fact that he got the repel from
and then he slips by Philippox. Gets the 2K to finish it off. Just one of the rounds that will never be repeated.
And then that reaction for Budek.
Yeah, I mean, it's priceless. These are like the kind of moments that you genuinely only get on the LAN event. I mean, if this happened in like an online tournament, we would be able to get up and clap for each other, you know? That's like the wholesomeness of the community that we're seeing. But all in all, today, the games that we've seen might have destroyed some hopes and dreams, but some teams are now going to go into that final. BDS and M80, I think that's definitely one of the greater storylines to be looking forward to. We're having M80 looking to claim their first international title, BDS defending their title, but also a bit of that redemption arc, as we spoke about earlier on the desk this week demo. They haven't really done that much so far this year, and this is really to ignite to get them started.
Yeah, this is it. They'll play bad the first half of the year, and then the second half, they take the winter season. That's where they're happy. That's it. But like I think kind of said as well, we've never seen this matchup before. We've never seen these two teams go up against each other. Obviously, Spoit would have had his fair share of battles against them, as we know, both being from Europe. But you know, for the likes of Brazilian boys on the team, this is going to be a new experience. And I'm telling you, same way that we talk about, you know, getting Brazils, as what Falcons did against NIP, where it's a rite of passage to get absolutely dumpstered. Equally, the French, I would say, fall into that same line of succession.
All right, that's it from us for today. Now, look at me. Mark this down in your calendar. Tomorrow, 16th? Yeah, that's correct. Tomorrow the 16th at 6 p.m. Central European Time. We're going to have M80 up against BDS in a best-of-5 series in a LAN environment. First time we're ever going to see either one of these teams go up against each other. You do not want to miss it. Defending champions up against a team that is looking to get their first international title. So make sure you mark it down. Make sure you're ready, because we're going to be back tomorrow. Have a good evening.